how many skydives have you done?
I did 56, and on my 56th jump, I had an accident. I collided with another hiker. I was jumping out of a helicopter, and as our parachutes were opening, we collided and got tangled.
No.
Yeah. So we jumped out facing away from each other and pulled early at the same time, and it sort of like scooped us back into each other, I think. So I felt this huge like crash in the back of my head. I like was so confused. I thought I hit the helicopter, which makes no sense, but in the moment. And then the lines just got like all tangled around me and were like cinching.
My heart rate's like 120 right now.
Yeah.
Welcome to Backpacker Radio, presented by The Trek, brought to you by Topo Athletic. I don't know why I sang it that time. I am your co-host, Zach Badger Davis, and sitting to my right is...
Juliana Chauncey.
No.
Sassafras.
You're lying.
Hi, I'm Jess.
Chauncey is busy honeymooning right now. She's probably somewhere in the Southeast Pacific. I'm guessing she's got food poisoning, so shout out to Chauncey.
Yeah, shout out Chauncey. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Sorry for the diarrhea. No, I'm sure she's having a very lovely romantic time. A few reminders before we get to today's interview. First is the Trek Blogger sign-up application form is officially live to the world. So if you're taking on a long-distance trek in 2026 and you want to be a part of the squad, hit us up. I'm going to call out a few of the awesome benefits of being a part of our program. There's an Instagram chat group that has been pretty lively of late, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the place we go when like we've got stuff to plug. Like we did a Trek happy hour, got the word out through there.
Give away free stuff in there.
Yeah, that's true. I just sent out a bunch of Pinhoti shirts through there. So yeah, that's where all the good bonus stuff is going on. Gear discounts. What were a few of the brands that you were excited about, including last year?
Oh gosh, Topo, Backpackers Pantry, Purple Rain Skirts, Durston 3-in-1.
Fuck yeah. We've got features on our social media channels. That's probably an obvious one, but we pump you guys up through the Trek's large social media following. And we'll fly out someone to join us here on the podcast, both this year and next. I think this is definitely a keeper incentive of the program. Excited to make that happen for 2025, and we'll definitely be running it back next year. So if you're taking on in 2026 a Triple Crown Trail, a shorter thru-hike, or a longer section hike, can be domestic or abroad, again, hit us up. The link to apply to be a vlogger is available in the show notes. Next thing I want to call out is, I don't know if we've plugged this necessarily in the reminders before, but the Trek has a YouTube channel, and Jess has been killing it as of late.
Oh, stop.
What are some of the pieces that you've been excited about working on?
Oh gosh, most recently it was a longer video, about 50 minutes long, of my hike on the Wonderland Trail, full vlog documentary of that. Also did
that include the thought experiment of eating a rock?
I don't think we talked about it in there. Yeah, that was a bedroom conversation. What else? Day in the Life of a Thru-hiker was on there. Gosh, we did what AI thinks the future of backpacking is going to look like, things women should do before they get out into the backcountry. 10 harsh truths about the AT. That was one. Oh, and then I also talked about peg legs almost attacked on the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
And my thoughts on that situation.
That was a spicy situation, and especially spicy comment section. So
they always are.
Yeah, fun to bring that back to the video format. So yeah, we've got a lot of fun video content coming through the pipe. So definitely head to the Trek's YouTube. Link will be in the show note. And please like, comment, subscribe. Last but not least is our Patreon. If you guys want to support the show, you can do so. Patreon.com/backpackerradio. In addition to a bunch of other cool perks, you get all of the episodes advertisement free. So not only does it save you a bit of time in listening to the ads, emphasis on listening, but it's just a good way to get some support directly into the pockets of those who bring the show together. So we're very grateful for everyone who supports us. Had a chance to meet a couple of our Chuck Norris Award winners at PCT Trail Days. That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Okay. Let us wait no more to today's interview with Liz Handstand Kidder. We are joined by today's guest, Liz Handstand Kidder. Liz is a thru-hiker, peak bagger, dreadlock artist, handstand expert, vlogger, and all-around adventurer. After becoming sober in 2014, Liz discovered new hobbies like hiking, snowboarding, skydiving, and circus arts. Since then, she's hiked the AT Long Trail, Colorado Trail, Annapurna Circuit, in addition to the New Hampshire 48 and Northeast 67 4,000-foot peaks. Liz is currently hiking the PCT handstand. Thank you so much for joining us here on Backpacker Radio.
Thanks for having me.
Stoked to have you. So we were chatting just a second ago if it's back on the show or if this is the first one. You mentioned that we interviewed you at AT Trail Days 7 years ago.
Yep, 2018.
Yeah.
That's year one.
Yeah.
I don't think I went to that one.
Yeah, when did you
We
hike
started
the
the
AT?
podcast in January,
Yeah.
and AT days would have been in May. We were still doing like an episode a month. I hiked in 2019.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you were already working with Zach?
We started the podcast in 2018, but I don't think I went to trail days before AT because my year was my first trail days.
This must have been for YouTube. If my brain wasn't made out of pure Swiss cheese, I would have a better.
I feel better now because I was like, I'm sure I would remember that. And I was
Well.
like, there is not a recollection in my brain of it happening.
Yeah.
Was I there?
I don't think so because I think this is the first time I'm meeting you. It's hard
Perfect.
to say
I'm off
because
the
I
hook
see
then.
you online, so I feel like I know you.
We've been
but-
best friends for 7 years.
In that case, welcome to Backpacker Radio for the first time. Let's start with the trail name. What's the origin story?
My trail name is Handstand. I got it on the AT 3 days in. I was doing a handstand on a nice viewpoint, which is kind of something I've been doing since I was a kid, taking pictures of handstands in pretty places. And so somebody just asked, is handstand your trail name? That should be your trail name. So I just kind of accepted it. And the fun part about this story, I guess, is his name is Hippie. He was on his first thru hike. This was day 3. Never saw him again. 5.5 months later, I'm about to finish. I'm 3 days from the end, and he's coming southbound. We cross paths right before the end, and so he was going really slow and flipped up. So we saw each other again. And then 2 years after I thru hiked, I randomly ran into him again in New Hampshire. I was just doing like a short backpacking trip, and he was hiking the Appalachian Trail again for the 3rd year in a row. And then, he went on to do the PCT and CDT eventually, and now he owns a hostel in Harper's Ferry. So
Sweet.
we're
What's the
still
name?
in touch.
Which hostel is it?
I don't remember. I feel like he took it over and changed the name. I did stop by there on a road trip a year or 2 ago and stayed there, but I can't remember what it's called. Sorry.
The hiking community is so funny that you'll just run into really influential people in the most random backcountry places.
Yeah. I just ran into someone a week or 2 ago that said that we met on the Appalachian Trail 7 years ago.
Wow.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's fun. Yeah.
That was like when I was in that, I'm blanking on his name in the wall moment, but the hole in the wall Mexican restaurant when we were on the way back from somewhere in the mountains in Colorado. We stopped in this small town because we were both hungry. We were like, let's just stop at this random Mexican place. And the guy with the snow dogs.
Oh, Ginger Balls.
Yes. He was
Love
sitting at
him.
the table next to me. And we looked at each other. We were like, what the fuck are you doing here?
I actually did a dog sled ride with him.
Did
Oh,
last
no
you?
shit.
winter, Yeah.
That's cool.
That's on my to-do list. How was it?
It was fun.
Yeah?
Oh my God. The dogs are so happy and
Oh.
sweet. And it was a good time. It's nice views. It's actually more mellow than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to feel faster and a little adrenaline crazy, but it's kind of like a chill ride.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah.
I want to do that so bad, too.
I do too.
Yeah. Okay, back to handstand. Where's the most epic place that you've done a handstand? In retrospect, I probably shouldn't have done that. It was dangerous.
Okay, so I did one on McAfee Knob. I felt safe doing it, the angle I was positioned or whatever, but in the picture especially, it looks sketchy. If I messed up, I would have fallen off the cliff.
Yeah.
And so I feel like every time I've posted that picture on Instagram, I get a little shit in the comments because people are like, that's so irresponsible. But I dreamed of that handstand picture before I even started the trail because that's such an iconic photo spot. So
Had you gone over, you would have died doing what you love.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Hate that phrase.
What's to the art of a good handstand? Have you just been doing it so long now that it's second nature, or is this something that you put a lot of thought into?
Well, I did gymnastics as a kid, and I was always like, they always called me the handstand queen. It was just my favorite thing. I was always on my hands. If you remember, like, back in the day with the internet, like dial-up AOL internet, it'd like take like 2 minutes to like log on. As a 10-year-old, exactly.
Yeah.
As a 10-year-old, I'd like do a handstand and try to hold it while I logged on
Oh
AOL.
my God, that's so funny.
And then, yeah, later in life, at some point, I kind of transitioned and was training like circus-style hand balancing, which is a little bit more intense. And
How?
handstands is just like one tiny little component of gymnastics, so it wasn't like a focus. So I was just kind of doing it and good at it, but didn't really have like the very like in-depth training of it. In circus, like Cirque du Soleil, like there are hand balancers where that is their sole thing that they do. So it just feels like, yeah, a lot more focused, and I don't know how to explain it. But like, for example, a lot of people when they first learn a handstand are like walking around on their hands. And that's actually poor form, because that means your balance is off, which is causing you to walk. So training like real circus style hand balancing, it's all about like proper stacking of your body and balancing it so you can stay in place forever and not like take a step.
Wow.
Do you have any tips for someone who wants to get better at handstands?
Definitely like using a wall, but not like, I think most people would like face the wall, put their hands down and kick up and over to the wall, but that's actually causing your back to arch, which is poor form. So if you start with your like front of your body like against the wall, so your back is to the wall, you put your hands down and walk your feet up, and then you can perfectly stack your hands, your shoulders over your hands, your hips over your shoulders, and then there'll just be like a little bit of pike in your feet, and then like slowly lift your feet off. I feel like this is easier to show.
No, I understand what you're going with.
But that's, you want to practice proper form. And for men, I feel like the tough part about handstands is typically you're more muscular upper body and you don't have the shoulder flexibility to properly stack. So
it's hard for me just to hold my hands
arch
over my head for any period of time, like let alone trying to hold my body. Yeah. What's the longest handstand that you've done?
I would say I could probably go close to 2 minutes.
Wow.
It's been a while since I've really like tested that and timed myself, but
we should test it.
Yeah.
I should hold the mic
while
she's
like
doing it,
and
you ask her an interview question. We'll see if she can answer it while
we'll
upside
just
down.
sit upside down in our chairs while she's doing a handstand. We'll do a back interview. Yeah. That's fun. Is Cirque du Soleil considered like the all-star league for any circus arts?
I think so, yeah. Like my first Cirque du Soleil show I ever went to, I was like in my mid to late 20s, and I started crying immediately. I felt so emotional because I just thought, man, had I been to a show as a kid, like this would have been my career choice 100%. But doing handstands playing around as a kid, I didn't even know that was like an option for a career.
Yeah.
But they're amazing. Most of the athletes in Cirque du Soleil have been like training since they were 5, and they're from like Ukraine and
yeah, that's cool. So, what was your introduction to the world of backpacking?
Okay, yeah, switching gears. I got sober in 2014, and not like consciously, but I think I just had more time, energy, and like needed to put that energy somewhere. So I started.
Put a pin on that. What was the impetus for you to get sober? If we can talk about that.
Yeah, I was just a wild child, and so in my late teens, early 20s, like just a lot of chaos happened, multiple DUIs, and after the second DUI, I had to go to like AA meetings for, court mandated, and somebody's story that was shared at an AA meeting just kind of like hit me like I really need to change my life or I'm gonna end up in jail for the next one. And so yeah, I got sober, and then it wasn't immediate, but like within the first year maybe I randomly went snowboarding for the first time and kind of fell in love with that, like kind of the excitement of, I don't know, getting out of your comfort zone. And then after snowboarding, I got into skydiving.
Wow.
And so It was actually a fellow skydiver that jumped at the same drop zone in 2016, I think. He went and hiked the Appalachian Trail. And I had not really hiked before and had never heard of the Appalachian Trail. I mean, I grew up 2 hours from it and never heard of it before. And
You
he
said
wasn't.
New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Okay.
In New Hampshire.
Where in New Hampshire?
I live in southern New Hampshire. I'm like closest point on trail is like Lincoln, New Hampshire, near Franconia Ridge, like an hour and a half from my house.
Okay.
So yeah, he wasn't like posting a lot online. This was more like Facebook days instead of Instagram, but he posted a couple pictures and one of them caught my attention. I was like, what the heck is this guy doing? And so I Googled it and I just immediately was like, holy shit, like people hike this trail for like 6 months. Like that's insane. Like I need to know if I can do that. And so I started day hiking a little bit in 2016 and planning ahead and setting up my life so that in the spring of 2018, I was able to take the 6 months off and go do it. So when I went to go down to Georgia to start the AT, I still had never done an overnight. That was my first night ever sleeping in a tent, was on Springer Mountain.
Wow. What is the outdoor culture like where you're from? Because in my head, I picture New Hampshire to be similar to Colorado almost, where like the average person is at least a hiker. Is that true in New Hampshire?
It feels that way now because it's the world I'm surrounded by now. But growing up, I don't know. I think I was just, before social media is what it is now, you're more sheltered. And my parents were not very outdoorsy or hikery. And we lived a couple hours. Like, I don't even think I went to the White Mountains once as a kid. And when I turned 18, I moved. I wanted to go somewhere warm. So I lived in Hawaii for a few years.
Oh, cool.
And so it wasn't until
Which
I
island?
came back.
Which island?
Oahu.
Oahu. Nice.
Yeah. So it wasn't until I came back that all of a sudden and got sober, all of a sudden this like outdoor world kind of opened up. So now that I'm like in it, I feel like, yeah, there's tons of hikers and tourists and day hikers. But I will say New Hampshire hikers, I feel like are a little more like focused on the 4,000 footers. Like I think a lot of them are on the Appalachian Trail and aren't really aware of thru hikers so much. Like I don't think they like can pick them out when thru hikers walk by. They're just like focused on their 48.
Yeah.
Is there, so in Colorado, there's like a uniform, it's the Melly, it's the Subaru, it's the Golden Retriever. Yeah. If someone's a Colorado person who likes the outdoors.
Beard.
What is the New Hampshire uniform?
I mean, I don't really know.
They don't have
one.
That's
No.
nice.
I mean, LL Bean is kind of like a New England brand. So like when I started the AT, I had a LL Bean sleeping bag, which is so random in the big thru hiking world, But as far as like picking out like attire, I don't know, like yuppie.
Well, that's nice because it gets kind of boring and repetitive seeing a Melly at every turn.
I didn't even know what that was until I hiked the Colorado Trail.
Well, on our flight over here, we were laughing because everyone was either wearing like some sort of microgrid or had like the bright Hokas on. Like it was just everywhere.
How many skydives have you done?
I did 56, and on my 56th jump, I had an accident. I collided with another hiker. I was jumping out of a helicopter, and as our parachutes were opening, we collided and got tangled.
No.
Yeah. And so it was wild. We're both so lucky to have lived, to be honest. And I didn't think at the time that would be my last jump, but it was like late in the season. I no longer had a parachute because I had to go to my reserve chute, and the main chute got like lost in the woods, so I didn't have anything to jump with. And then the following spring is when I started on the Appalachian Trail. So I was gone the whole next season. So by the time I could have jumped again, it would have been like a year and a half later.
You have to finish the tangled story.
Yeah.
How does that
more
one
details
play out?
there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to discourage anyone from skydiving because I feel strongly that it's the most amazing, like life-changing experience. And if you're going to go for like a tandem jump with an instructor, like this situation that I'm about to explain will never happen to you. So
Unless it does.
So I had just gotten like there's different classes of licenses. So I got my B license, which allows you to jump out of a helicopter. And so the helicopter comes like once a year to that drop zone. So it's like a big deal. And yeah, me and this one other girl, it was both of our first time jumping out of a helicopter. It's a small little helicopter. So like they want you to jump out from either side, like at the same time. So it doesn't rock. And the difference from jumping out of a helicopter is you're much lower to the ground. So out of a plane, you're jumping out of 10,000 feet or 14,000 feet usually. Out of the helicopter, we were jumping out at like 5,000 feet. So there's not much free fall time. It's kind of like jump out and immediately pull. And we both, I think, were a little nervous being so low to the ground, and both probably pulled like a tiny bit too early, and both happened to like probably 1 in a million chance pull at the same like millisecond. And so when your parachute opens up, it kind of like scoops you back slightly. So we jumped out facing away from each other and pulled early at the same time, and it sort of like scooped us back into each other, I think. So I felt this huge like crash in the back of my head. I'm wearing a helmet. I like was so confused. I thought I hit the helicopter, which makes no sense, but in the moment. And then, yeah, the lines just got like all tangled around me and were like cinching. So I'm trying to like untangle myself, but it was just cinching so tight. Like my whole jumpsuit was shredded. My backpack that the chute is in, shredded. Like all my equipment was destroyed from the lines cinching on me.
My heart rate's like 120 right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like just like screaming. I don't know what to do. All I can remember is like from like our ground school class, like they talk about different types of malfunctions and what to do to get out of these situations. But this type of situation was just like a don't ever be in that situation, because there's nothing to do. Because the problem is if you go to your backup chute, the backup chute is just going to deploy right into this tangled mess.
So what do you do?
So I'm screaming. I mean, last second before you hit the ground, you would have to just pull the chute, the backup, to just have as much fabric over your head as possible. Anyways, she must have been a little less tangled than I was. I couldn't see her, but she ended up pulling her reserve chute, and somehow it worked. She floated free from the equation. So now it's just me tangled with the two main chutes. But because her weight was free from it, it stopped like cinching around me. It sort of like loosened up and floated above my head a little bit. Like the parachutes weren't open and correct, and I was still falling fast, but maybe slightly slower. And so once the lines weren't cinching anymore, I was able to kind of like free myself from them and pull my backup chute and go to.
Oh my
When
God.
she pulls her backup chute, does it release her main chute?
Yeah, it like almost simultaneously releases the main chute and deploys the backup chute at the same time.
So then it was just like your
So it was
mess,
just me and our two main chutes.
You did that, and
then,
that got rid of both.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Wow.
both of the main chutes I watched float off and land in the forest somewhere.
How did the ground feel when you met it?
Well, I mean, I landed fine. But
You slowed down enough?
Well, your reserve chute is like the same almost as a main chute. Mine was slightly smaller because I was still jumping on a bigger main chute. So it's a little bit of a speedier landing. But yeah, you land it just the same as you would anyway. The difference is like the main chute is getting like packed by you or somebody that works there like just quickly all day, every day. The reserve chute is packed by a professional. And it's super meticulous. It takes them hours to pack it. It's on like a spring-loaded system, so it like pops open and there's no chance of it like malfunctioning. And it has to be repacked every 6 months. There's like a card that's signed by the packer that does it. And so, kind of a funny fun fact. Whenever there's a malfunction at the drop zone, when somebody has to go to their backup chute, they have to go to the store and buy like a bottle of booze for the person that packed the reserve chute.
It's a good tradition.
That is a good tradition.
What is going through your head once you're tangled and you actually realize what's happening?
It felt like it was an eternity. I mean, the whole thing probably lasted maybe 30 seconds. But it, it's not like my life flashed before my eyes and I was thinking of all and I was just like panicking, screaming, and like trying to think of anything I could possibly do to like fix the situation.
Yeah. Does the panic cause you to focus more clearly?
Yes. And so another side tangent, I actually had a malfunction 5 jumps before that, my first ever malfunction. And so it wasn't anything that dramatic. It was just one of the toggles was stuck when my chute opened. So it sent me into a spiral. And that can be dangerous because the spiral, like that, like G-force or whatever, like you can pass out. And so you're supposed to like try to fix the situation for a minute, but then you have to sort of like decide when your cutoff is of like, okay, fuck this, I can't fix it, and go to your backup chute. So anyways, as a student, as a new skydiver, I always knew if I continued jumping, I would have a malfunction eventually. And the fear is like, how will I react when that happens? And so that first malfunction felt so good because I felt like I was focused. Like I wasn't thinking about anything else other than like, okay, this is what's happening. Try to fix it. I'm not fixing it. Okay, go do my backup chute. And it was fine. And so you felt like relief after that first one.
Is there part of you that gets like a weird positive thrill from that? Because like skydiving in its nature is the adrenaline that you're chasing, and then like getting into malfunction is just taking it to a new level.
Yeah, for sure. Like I always said, like I'm fearless but not stupid. Like I wasn't trying to get myself in crazy situations. Some skydivers and thru hikers and any other sport are completely reckless. Yeah. I don't consider myself that. I was always like doing my best to be safe. And, but yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that little adrenaline rush or the sense of like accomplishment after something happens and you make your way out of it.
My heart was in my throat when you were telling that story. I think you just scared me away from skydiving, which I know was the opposite of your intent, but
I swear that would never happen on a tandem jump.
Have you skydived, Zach?
No.
Apparently
never,
not.
really?
Yeah. I've always been open to it. Now that I've got kids, it feels stupid.
Yeah.
But, so I think my window is closed. But yeah,
you should look up the statistics though, because I think your chances of dying.
I know it's
in a million other situations.
Heuristic. It's just
I did it once, and I like massively am afraid of flying. I did it once because everyone else was doing it, and my friends jumped out of the plane, wouldn't you? And I get to, I'm like all talk. I'm like, oh, let's do a flip when we go out, and like it comes time to jump, and I'm like going towards the edge, and like I look out, I'm like, and I'm like skirting back, and the guy that's attached to me is like, we're going, and so like I'm like a cat that's like avoiding getting into the bathtub, and he just pushes me out. I'll never do it again. That one time it was fun.
When you landed?
Yeah, that one time was fun, but I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah. I feel like you react one of two ways. Either you're like, I'm glad I did it, but I don't ever feel the need to do it again. Or you're like me, you do the tandem jump and you're like, holy shit, like my life has changed. I'm going to be a skydiver now.
You open the floodgates. Yeah. Cool. Let's talk about backpacking. Okay, so you learn about the AT from a fellow skydiver. Walk me through like the first week on trail, because you said that you were very novice when you got started.
Yes, I was. And I watched a ton of YouTube videos, but not like trail videos or anything. It was like mostly just gear videos. That's how I kind of like learned, I guess, what to buy and how to get ready. And so the one thing I'll say about the beginning of the trail is like I had no idea how to use Far Out or to read the guidebook. And I was like, well, hopefully there'll just be other people around and I'll figure it out from them. I don't know. I like was intimidated by that stuff. Yeah. And so I happened to start the same day as Ibitat. And we sort of knew of each other already from the YouTube world. And yeah, we hit it off and started hiking together, and he knew how to use those things and showed me the ropes, I guess. I struggled setting up my tent the first couple of weeks. The trekking pole tents are a little more finicky probably, and I practiced like once in my yard before the hike. And so that was a struggle for me in the beginning, and hanging a bear bag was also a struggle, which still is a struggle. Yeah. But yeah, it turns out I had the wrong measurements for my trekking poles on the tent. So eventually that all came together.
Dialed in. I remember obviously you were a vlogger for the trek at that time, and like instantly very popular. I think maybe we've had a couple of other people, like Julia was another one that like hit very instantly, but I was even shocked at like how quickly you became a sensation on YouTube. What was that like? Like, did you have any vlogging experience previous to the AT?
No, I dabbled a little bit in photo video stuff like before, reels were a thing or anything like that, just because of my work that I do. I do dreadlocks and I teach, and so I've always been kind of like into social media and like creative aspect of video. Yeah. So I don't have any like professional training. I look back at those AT videos and I'm like, oh my God, they're so cringy. I feel like I was so bad at it. But I didn't know any different at the time. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't really watching trail videos. I had no intention of vlogging. I didn't even know that was really a thing. I thought I would use like some type of like trailjournal.com or something to like document my hike is what I wanted to do. And then I saw like an advertisement from the trek about like looking for vloggers. And I was like, oh my God, that would be so much easier than writing every night, because you're just going about your day and you're just filming your day, like way quicker, which I later learned is really not the case. At least as I've gotten better at editing, it takes me a very long time to edit. So it's very time consuming.
So how did the like spike of popularity kind of out of the gate interface with your hike? Like, were you getting people coming out on trail? Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny because Habitat had his own YouTube as well. And so it was like, we almost made it like a contest, like who was getting recognized more on trail, which was fun. But then it also, you know, there was a little bit of drama that happened and led to some not nice comments on videos, which that was my first time ever like dealing with that. And I definitely did not have as thick of skin back then. So it hurt a little bit more. But as you know, whatever, as time went on and as I did more and more over the years, like I've gotten used to that. Usually it's overwhelmingly positive comments, but there's those few here and there that are not nice, and you got to learn to just tune that out or laugh at it.
Yeah.
What was the drama? I don't know the history of anything, so maybe that's too personal.
We can skip the subject if you want.
It doesn't matter to me. It's up to you.
Totally up to you. I don't.
Well, the short story, I was hiking with Habitat for a few weeks. We have a similar like look with the tattoos. We're both sober for the same amount of time, whatever. So people were watching both of us and were very like invested in this relationship, which was not a relationship. It was a friendship. And then my boyfriend at the time came out to visit a few weeks in when I was in the Smokies. And Habitat randomly decided without telling us that he didn't want to be a third wheel, and so he just kind of like woke up early and hiked out one day and didn't say anything. And so it wasn't really that big of a deal. He later texted me in town and whatever, but people online had a field day with this
because they romanticized it.
Yeah, they just were, you know, attached to this relationship. They didn't know Luke yet, which is my now husband. And that was really the breaking point for me, is when people started making mean comments about Luke, I just felt responsible. You know, I could handle mean comments about myself. I put myself in this position. But when they're like attacking him, I just was like, fuck this, basically.
Yeah.
I've been involved in the hiking community for a long time now, and I've seen a lot of stuff online. I've never seen that exact scenario before. Like, it was pretty weird. People were very invested.
Really?
I still occasionally get comments to this day, 7 years later.
You're like, he's my husband. Leave me alone.
This situation.
Yeah. The internet very much wanted you and Habitat to be an item. Yeah. It was strange. Okay, so got that out of the way. Where was I going to go next? So at what point were you like hooked by the AT experience?
You know, I don't know that I realized I was on trail ever. Like, I loved the early days of it, and then by the middle it got kind of monotonous, and I was like really just wanted to finish, and I did not anticipate ever wanting to thru hike again, to be honest. I actually told my now husband, like towards the end of the trail, I'm like, if I ever say I want to thru hike the PCT, like punch me in the face. I'm never doing this again. And so it was probably like within the first year, I kind of missed trail life and started thinking about like, maybe I'll section hike or do some smaller trails. And then by like maybe year 2 or 3, I was like, nah, I think I want to thru hike again.
Did you get punched in the face?
No, he's a gentleman. He reminded me that I said that, but he didn't actually do it. And so eventually I was trying to hike the John Muir Trail. I really wanted to do the John Muir Trail. And that's only 200 miles, so it would have taken a couple weeks, but I couldn't get permits a couple years in a row. So finally we said, screw it, let's do the long trail, because it was, you know, right in my backyard and similar length. So Luke came to do the long trail with me, which took us 20 days. It rained the whole time. It was pretty miserable. I did not enjoy it, but I was not ready to be done. Like, I felt like at the end of 20 days, I was just getting started. Like, I really wanted to keep going. And so that's how I knew I was ready for like another big one.
Yeah.
I feel that all the time. I call them PTO hikes in my brain, because it's like a hike that you can fit into a reasonable PTO amount. And it's always like the last day or two where I'm like, I finally feel like I'm back in the rhythm, and then it's done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so close.
Why do you think that you ended the AT in a much more sour mindset compared to the long trail? Was it just the duration, or do you think like the social media YouTube experience kind of soured it?
No, I think because that blew over to a point early on, and I kind of took a break from it, and then I, restarted again later in the hike, and I had fun with it by the end. But I just think, a through hike is an amazing adventure, and it's that type 2 fun. Like, you look back at it, and I'm so grateful for the experience, and it changed me, and I had so many good times. But I think there's a lot of monotonous just hiking all day, every day, back-to-back days when you have never done something like that. It's just, that's the mental side of it that gets really hard. And then, like I said, that was also a really rainy year. So just being like days on end in the rain and everything's wet. It just, it felt like it was never going to end at some point.
Yeah.
But I mean, I loved New Hampshire. I'm from New Hampshire. So I loved hiking through New Hampshire and Maine. And I was having a great time still at the end. I was just ready to finish.
Got it. I'm already blanking on my next question. So you mentioned that the trail changed you. How did it change you?
God, I mean, I maybe already had started this process through, skydiving and snowboarding, but in sobriety. But I think I just started to feel like I could do anything. There's like a phrase I heard one time, like you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So you have to like decide in your life, like, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? What experience do you want to have? But I truly believe that if you want it bad enough, you can have it, or be it or whatever. So I just felt like really, strong, and mentally definitely a lot stronger.
Yeah. I've heard before from people that are at least recently sober that the AT can be a tricky experience because there is such a party culture on the AT. Did you feel that at all?
I mean, I was 4 years sober already when I started the AT, so I think I was pretty like solid in it. Like I had already gone through the whole like transition of, I used to like party and be really social. And then when I took away the alcohol, I like did not want to be in those like social settings because I think naturally I'm much more introverted. And so when I first got sober, I felt like, oh, there's something wrong with me. I don't like have friends that I hang out with or whatever. But then as time went on and I started finding different hobbies or whatever fulfillment in my life, I started to realize like that's okay that I'm not like a super social person. And so I was confident in that when I started the AT. And so I think that was something that me and Habitat like connected about. We're both a little bit of like that like lone wolf type. And that creative type. And then even after hiking with him, eventually I met my friend Evan, who I ended up finishing the trail with. And he's a little bit older than me, and we're, similar. He did YouTube as well and connected about that. But I never found myself in like big groups of friends or tramlies or anything like that. I just found myself with other people who were like like-minded and also weren't big drinkers and partiers, and just kind of did my own thing.
Yeah. Would you, for somebody who is sober, recommend through hiking?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like depending on who you hang out with, I guess you're not like around alcohol or partying all the time on trail. It's more like when people go into town. So yeah, I mean, maybe be somewhat strategic about who you surround yourself with. But it's funny how like, you attract what you are or whatever, because on this trail on the PCT, I feel like I kept finding myself with people who don't drink, and it's not like I was even looking for that, but we are just like-minded. We're on the same schedule of getting up early and getting shit done, so we just sort of like connect and end up hiking together.
I feel like sobriety is much more in the zeitgeist now compared to like when you first started through hiking.
Yeah,
in the last few years, it definitely seems like there's a huge uptick in sober people in general, especially young people.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I feel like the younger generations aren't as wild as we once were.
I've seen articles that like they've done like math and like statistically they've put out statistics where it's like, young people aren't drinking as much. So I think that's actually true.
For sure. To
There's
the point where
studies.
Have you seen Andrew Yang's recent campaign? Do you know who Andrew Yang is? He was a presidential candidate in 2020. Anyways, He's going around to different cities, like trying to get young people to bars, to drink, to socialize. It's like the Get Offline tour. He's like, you guys need to get off your phones and drink and make mistakes and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So I commend him for that. I have a note here about 2022 that's not necessarily hiking related.
Okay.
About a certain donation.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, where did you get all this information?
Okay, you know what's so funny is we had a conversation yesterday about how, like, to this day, even though I know that he like jokes about things and like I'm gullible, I still fall for all the shit he says. And like we were talking about it yesterday, because what was it that you said something and I was like, really? And you're like, no. But when you pressed record and you were like, yeah, and you donated your kidney, I was like, oh, this is Zach just being like making jokes again.
This one turns out to be true. Yeah. 2 lies and a truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So give us that story.
Yeah. So I donated my kidney a couple of years ago. I don't know where to begin this story. All right, we'll make it quick. I have a cousin who has like an autoimmune disease who needed a kidney transplant like 20 plus years ago. And his mom, my Aunt Kathy, donated to him originally. And it lasted 4 years and then it rejected for whatever reason. So he ended up needing another one. And the second kidney, they would not take anyone from my family because they thought something went wrong in that department. So they wanted someone outside the family. So he had to just like wait for either off the list or some like random person to step up and donate. And so someone did. And that was like a really, I don't know, impactful thing on my family, having to like, because we have a big family and plenty of people that would have donated in my family, but everyone felt like stuck. Nobody could do anything. So anyways, after he got his second kidney, that inspired my Aunt Sue ended up donating to somebody kind of random, like an acquaintance in town that she heard needed a kidney. And then my mom ended up donating her kidney. And then to, again, someone she didn't really know, but just through friends of friends, whatever. So when my mom donated, I was probably like in my mid-20s at that point, and I started thinking like, like I got to see that process up close, the recovery, and it didn't really seem like that big of a deal. So I was like, maybe I want to do that someday, and I sort of just had that in the back of my mind for a while. I thought I would just donate randomly someday. Well, fast forward a few more years. About 2020, my cousin's second kidney that he had received just kind of like petered out. They don't necessarily last forever. They can last a lifetime, but the average I think is only like 10 to 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And so his second kidney was kind of dying, and then meanwhile, completely irrelevant, he got like a brain tumor and then was on medication for that, which really tanked what was left of his kidney. So he was back on dialysis again, which if you've never seen anybody on dialysis, it's pretty rough. It's, you know, it takes over, it consumes your life. So anyways, so he was going to need another kidney. And so there was a few of us in the family that all were like ready to go. They were happy to take someone in the family again, because by this point it's 15 years later and, you know, education is different or whatever. So I was going to be the best match for him. So I was moving forward with that. And then COVID happened and he had this brain tumor and had surgery and things kept getting delayed. So this ended up being like a 2-year process. And throughout this process, there's more and more rigorous testing. And so because he had already received 2 kidneys, even though we were a blood match, his body had like built up antibodies that like will reject easier or something. I'm not a fucking medical person, so bear with me. And so one of our tests like wasn't coming back good, like our antibodies weren't jiving or something. So they decided I wasn't going to be able to donate directly to him, but we were going to, because I had gotten so far in the process, we were just going to do a swap. So there are plenty of people out there that need a kidney, have someone willing to donate, but they're not a match. So they try to like match you up with other people. So there's like a 4-person swap, or it could be a 20-person swap to everybody gets their kidney that they need. So that was the plan. But they kept not being able to find him a match. He was so difficult to match with because of the previous transplants. So this went on for a while, and I felt like my life was on hold. I was wanting to hike the PCT. I had my business that I felt like I couldn't book far in advance because if they found a match, it would happen quickly. So anyways, it dragged on for a while, and then finally I got like essentially like special permission to just donate my kidney to the pool to like whoever. and then that would bump him way up on the list. So as soon as they could find him a match, he would get one. The reason they don't do it like that initially is because they want, like, all the swap surgeries would happen at the exact same time so that everybody gets what they came for and nothing gets, like, if somebody dies or, you know what I mean, like something happens, like nobody gets screwed out of the situation. So I had to essentially just like give permission, like, yes, I'm happy to give my kidney regardless of what happens, you know, with everybody else and my cousin. And so anyways, they eventually got him a match. It took like another 6 months or so. It was a deceased donor, actually, kidney that he got. So he's doing really good right now.
Wow. You have a very altruistic family. So
Yeah.
people willing to give organs. That's awesome.
I know, it's kind of like almost a joke in my family because it's now 3 sisters, my mom and 2 aunts, and me have all donated.
Wow.
This is probably like a very dumb question, but just because I know nothing about this stuff, if let's say he gets your aunt's kidney and it starts to reject the kidney, can they give your aunt back the kidney?
No. And actually, fun fact, they don't remove, so your kidney is like just like his 2 original kidneys from his disease like started to die. They don't remove the old dead kidneys.
Oh, why?
They leave them in.
Whoa.
So he has his 2 original dead kidneys, his mom's dead kidney, the other dead kidney
He's
from
got
the
a kidney
second
farm.
donation, and now he has the one.
Where do they put them all? They just push them to the
leave
back?
'em. They actually had to remove, I think it was like his appendix or something, because they didn't have room
Whoa.
for the. Well, they do shrivel up, I think.
They atrophy.
They get
okay.
smaller.
Yeah.
Why don't they just take them out?
The way I understand it, again, I'm not a medical professional, is that, you know, obviously they can remove them. They removed mine, but mine was like living and healthy. When they die inside of you and you're just like on dialysis, I think it like almost like fuses to a wall or something. And so it's actually a much like riskier surgery to remove them.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's wild. Is there any negative consequences to donating a kidney? Like, did you?
So immediately when you donate, you lose 50% kidney function, but your remaining kidney over the next year to 2 years grows bigger and takes on more responsibilities. So you end up back to like, I think like 85% kidney function. So as long as you like take care of it well, like you should be fine.
Yeah.
Like it's not a big deal. I don't feel any like effects from it now.
Probably
But
good
the
'cause you
things
don't
that are
drink.
different in my life are very minor things, but I can't take any like Advil, ibuprofen. I can't take vitamin I.
Oh, that's
for
tough on
back-cracking.
trail.
Oh.
I can take Tylenol.
Okay.
And what else?
Have you
I'm
tried-
supposed to be really good about drinking water, which I'm
Yeah.
not, but
As a just very random aside, have you tried curcumin, which is like a modified form of turmeric?
no.
I've had good success with that for like inflammation stuff.
Like
I
the
don't-
holistic kind of. Oh, that's good
Yeah.
because Tylenol does work for some things, but not for inflammation.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if that would impact the kidney situation, so look into that. But
Okay.
if you're looking for
I won't
another
take
outlet,
your medical advice
Yeah.
directly.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So drink a lot of water, no ibuprofen, and otherwise you feel.
All good.
Yeah. All right. And how long did that take you out of hiking?
5 weeks. It was supposed to be like a 4 to 6 week recovery. I took 6 weeks off of work. I was feeling pretty good at 5 weeks, so I decided to test myself, and I went and finished my 4,000 footers in New Hampshire that last week before I had to go back to work.
How long did that project take?
Well, I wasn't like in a rush to do them, so I had just done them like over the years. So I think I had 4 or 5 left at that time that I had donated. So I did one easy 4,000 footer 5 weeks after my surgery that I'd done before just to kind of like feel it out. And I felt fine. So then I just went and banged out the last 4 that week.
Yeah. You also mentioned that the kidney situation kind of put your career on hold. Let's talk about your career, or your current career, I should say. Tell us about that.
So I do dreadlocks, which is very random. I started off as a hairdresser, a typical hairstylist, and just always wanted dreadlocks since I was a kid. And so once I started mine and they started looking good and I was a hairdresser, I just started having like clients asking me about doing them. And so I just ended up building up like a reputation for doing dreads in a salon. And then I got so busy with it that I decided to just move over to strictly dreadlocks only full time. And so I opened up a little studio to start, like a little commercial space in Massachusetts. And then during COVID, I ended up moving the studio home into my house. So it's been like that for the last 5 years. And then currently, mainly my husband, has been building a tree house on our property that's going to be my studio.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Will they have to climb a ladder to get into the
No,
studio?
it's all like commercial regulation,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the build. So it's been over a year process to build it.
Yeah.
My husband's not a builder, but he's just handy. So he's been picking away at that. It's like almost done. I think by the time I get home from the PCT, I can just be doing like the fun finishing touches.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us about dreadlocks, because I feel like there's always a stigma that they're like stinky and dirty and like they're hard to wash. But yours look very clean. I've been looking at your scalp while we've been sitting here.
I like need to wash it right now. But yeah, no, obviously there's reasons for those stereotypes. There are people that don't take care of them properly, or it was just kind of like the myth back in the day that you had to not wash your hair to get dreads, but that's absolutely not the case. Like you would know, like with if you don't wash your hair and your hair gets like oily, that's like not going to tangle well compared to like squeaky clean hair. When you shampoo it but don't condition it yet, that tangles really well. Like clean hair actually locks better. So yeah, they should not smell bad. They should not be dirty. Although I do get dirty when I'm on trail. And that's always like when I'm in like a grocery store, in a trail town, or like I flew home and I had my pack and my pack smells awful on the plane with me. I'm like, oh no, everybody thinks it's just like I'm a dirty hippie because they see the hair. They don't know I'm a thru hiker, you know? But anyways, on the AT, I was washing a little less often, like once a month. On the PCT, I feel like this is a dirty trail, like so dirty. So I've been washing my hair almost every town stop, like every 4 to 6 days.
Is it just the normal wash? Like
I was gonna say, what's the process?
You just, it's the same thing. Just shampoo, no conditioner. Because conditioner is like detangling, which is the opposite of what you want. So it might take a little more shampoo to work it through, and then take a little bit longer to rinse it fully. But yeah, that's it. And then usually I would blow dry, but it's so dry out here. Well, maybe not now in the Pacific Northwest, but like California was so dry, I didn't really need a blow dryer.
I guess how do you scrub your scalp?
You just,
Oh, okay.
sorry, that wasn't
Chunks go in for a grab there. Get the full experience.
I can't violate her like that. I don't know. I just feel like it would be hard.
Yeah, no, you just kind of spread your fingers out and like, you can get in there, get rough with it. It feels good.
What is the process for like making the dreadlocks?
Yeah, creating and maintaining. There's different methods, but the one I use is really specialized. It's a crochet hook method. So it's like a tiny, tiny little metal hook, and you're essentially just like weaving it tighter. So when you create them, you're like taking a section of hair, combing it backwards, and then using the hook to like weave it tighter and make it look neat. They can look really neat on day one that way. But then over time they might loosen a little bit, and or when your new growth grows in, the roots are kind of like fluffy. So some people come in for regular maintenance where I'm just like tightening the roots and making things look clean and crisp.
Did you do your own?
Yeah.
How long did that take?
Well, I wasn't doing them on clients back then, and there wasn't much information on the internet back then. So it was a complete trial and error process. So I started them in a day. A friend of mine that worked at a salon with me helped me like with the sectioning and stuff, and we just backcombed. I had never even heard of a crochet hook then, so my hair was wild. It looked like this huge rat's nest. And then I'd wanted them for years, and I just was like so determined to get them to look the way I wanted, but I didn't know how to do that. So it was just like playing with all different, things I had heard through the grapevine. And so eventually I found a crochet hook and landed on that. But anyway, so it probably took about a year for them to start looking good. Like at first, nobody was asking me to do their dreads. That's for damn sure. But then once they got to like a good point, then all of a sudden it was like everybody was asking.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of business via like your hiking outlets?
I went through like a serious phase a few years ago, I guess before COVID, where I had people flying to me from all over the country, because this technique is really specialized. Not that many people do it. And so I got, pretty big on social media and like known for it. And so some people, it would always be like kind of a funny thing. Like I think the first client that ever flew to me, if I remember correctly, is this girl Nina, who's still my client today, and she was a thru hiker and originally found me from my YouTube videos for hiking, and she had dreads and wanted them to be neater or whatever. So she flew from, I think she was living in Utah at the time, or something. She's in Texas now. But yeah, so I've definitely gotten some clients. Like there is definitely like crossover. Like some of the people I know from the dreadlock world have gotten into hiking because they see my content about hiking.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. Some of the people that find me from hiking are now interested in doing dreadlocks.
Do you like reggae?
I do. I mean, it's not my like number one genre that I always default to.
Yeah.
But
I'm just trying to think of the most stereotypical dreadlock thing
yeah.
I could
Do
think
I
of.
smoke weed? No. Everyone assumes so.
Annapurna Circuit. Tell me about that.
That was totally random. It wasn't on my radar at all. I didn't really know anything about any hikes in Nepal. I was like so focused on the thru-hiking world, but a friend of mine, Todd, he had been to Nepal to do the Everest Base Camp trek years ago. He's not like a thru-hiker or anything, but an avid like New Hampshire day hiker. So anyways, he did the Everest Base Camp trek years ago and wanted to go back and do something similar. So he landed on the Annapurna Circuit trek, and him and his brother were going to do it. And then he just started like mentioning it to, friends of his that hiked to see if anybody wanted to join. So I just kind of jumped on it. And to be honest, I did not even look into it at all. I just trusted that he had already done the base camp trek, and I sort of knew a little bit about that from him. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. Like, I want to go to Nepal, I guess. So I actually like bought my plane ticket and put the deposit down on the trip without ever having looked up anything about the hike. And then after the fact, I watched some YouTube videos on it, and I was like, this is way not the same as thru hiking. Like, you're staying in are they called tea houses? Tea houses every night. You get, 3 meals a day. Like, you're stopping in villages throughout the day. It almost reminds me of like what the Camino might be in a way. And then you also have like porters, like people carrying the bulk of your gear. You just got like a little day pack. So like totally different than the thru hiking world. But I'm glad I figured that out before I went, because it set my expectations correctly. It's like low miles. You're doing like 10 miles a day. And I was just like, you know what? This isn't going to be like some crazy hiking challenge. It's going to be more of like a cultural experience. Yeah. And it was amazing. And it is challenging, especially for somebody that's newer to hiking. You get up to, the highest point is like just under 18,000 feet.
Existing at 18,000 feet is challenging.
I know.
Like, let alone hiking out there.
I know. So yeah, that it is intense in that one way, in my opinion. But overall, the terrain is pretty easy. And
yeah. How did you respond to being at that elevation?
Weirdly, I was fine. I had done Mount Elbert off of the Colorado Trail the year before. And I struggled with the altitude a little bit. I mean, nothing super dramatic, but I was definitely like winded, nauseous, and headache up at Mount Elbert. And that's only at 14,400 something feet. And so I was a little bit nervous that I would not do well at 18,000 feet. But everybody for these types of hikes typically gets prescribed some type of medication to help you handle the altitude or acclimate better. So I did get a prescription for Diamox, I think it's called. But my plan was to try not to use it. Usually you're supposed to take it as a preventative, so you would start taking it a couple days before getting to the high altitude. But it does affect your kidneys, 1. And 2, I had already now started thinking ahead to like, maybe I want to climb real big mountains someday. So if I can't handle 18,000 feet, like how am I going to handle, Everest or something? So, so my plan was you can take Diamox as like a backup. So meaning if you start to experience the symptoms, I think it's just maybe not quite as effective that way. Okay. So I just had it as a backup, and I was completely fine. I never took it. I think on the Annapurna circuit, you're acclimating very slowly and gradually, and you're just like literally going the tiniest bit uphill for days on end. It's not like the Colorado Trail. You're like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then boom, up. And the terrain is a lot more aggressive. You're exerting a lot more, and I had a full pack on for the Colorado Trail. So I think between the, low miles, the slow acclimation, and no pack weight, I was fine.
What is the elevation that you start at, or I guess like the low point? Like,
I should know that off the top of my head, but I want to say it's around 5,000 feet.
Okay. Are you spending most of your time above, say, 14,000 feet? Like
on the Annapurna?
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's like the slowest gradual. Like, so you're at 5,000 feet on the first day, and then you're at like 6,000 feet. It's consistently slowly like up. It doesn't feel like there's any up and down.
Okay.
So you're only gaining like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 feet a day. I think we hit, maybe my math is wrong, don't call me out, guys, but maybe you hit the 18,000 on day like 10 or something.
And how did you so you described it as more of a cultural experience. How did you like that experience compared to like the more traditional thru hiking?
I mean, it's just so different. It's hard to like compare. It felt like being on vacation rather than like being on a like challenging hike.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing. I've never been anywhere like that. Like you fly into Kathmandu and that is like a crazy high population city. And so that was just a wild, I mean, there's monkeys running around. Like it was nuts. So that was really cool to see. I love like trying new food, weird food, although the food actually wasn't my favorite in Nepal. But the one thing I did not like was like the squat toilets. Have you ever been anywhere like that?
No.
The squatty
Thailand.
potties. Yeah.
You didn't like those?
I don't mind squatting, but they just felt like dirty and gross.
For me, it was the pail of water that I was
Yeah,
always
they
like,
don't use
"Ooh."
toilet paper, so they have like essentially like a hose in there or something. They're
So it's just poo water everywhere.
And you're also like using like scoops. Well, I don't know. I'm comparing it to what Southeast Asia was like, but you would use like scoops of water to like wash down your stuff too.
Yeah.
So there's like basically a hole. Well, at least where I've been, there's a hole in the ground. There's a place to stand on each side, and there's a bucket with a little scoop next to
and
it.
everything's wet in there.
Yeah,
And I don't know if
everything
it's
is wet.
water or pee or what,
Or
but it smells
something
not
else.
good.
You go in with flip flops because you don't know. It's just all wet, and you're like, I hope nothing gets over the top of this flip flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like weird about bathrooms. I won't even use I never used a single privy the whole AT.
Really?
Yeah,
Not
it was
one.
like a thing for me. I'm like, nope, I'm just not doing it. On the
Privy's
PCT,
a much more positive experience compared to what you're describing, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I would put I put privy below squat toilet.
Oh, really?
But I would prefer a bush over
thank you.
over a
That's what
porta
I'm saying.
potty. I was saying this last night to him. I was like, where can I go to the bathroom that's not a porta potty?
Porta
Yeah.
potties are rough.
Like I just start to look
No.
around at like what the terrain looks like and like
Yeah.
who can see what.
Yeah. Is there anything about the Colorado Trail that you want to touch on? Because obviously we want to talk in depth about your current hike. Is there anything about the CT that you want to get into?
I'll just say that was my first experience kind of hiking out west outside of the East Coast because I had done the Appalachian Trail and the Long Trail, and so I thought I would love it, and I did love it. Like I loved the big views, and yeah, I would do the Colorado Trail again in a heartbeat. I
Yeah.
can't wait to hopefully eventually do the CDT and do it again there. But also it was eye-opening too, like some of the weather. I mean, I was hiking in the middle of the summer and I was getting sunburnt, and then I was getting like hailed on and freezing cold. Like the weather was crazy, and it also like made me appreciate the East Coast trees more.
Sure.
Because I've always bitched about them,
Yeah.
but in reality, yeah, it's
protecting you from
scary
hail.
when you're like you're above tree line for 30 miles in the San Juans, and there's nowhere to go
Yeah.
when a thunderstorm
Yeah.
rolls in.
That stretch between Lake City and Silverton,
Yeah.
although gorgeous, is
Yeah, oh my
terrifying if
God.
clouds come through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, CT's amazing. Speaking of amazing trails, you're currently on the PCT. We're sitting here at Trail Days, Cascade Locks. You hiked into Cascade Locks. That's where you are on trail right now.
Yep. I had to slow it down a little to time it for
Yeah.
trail days, but yeah.
How has this experience been to, I guess let's compare it to the Colorado Trail because it's west hiking. Like, how has this compared to the CT for you?
I feel like the Colorado Trail was a really good first step to the PCT, especially I remember that there was one hailstorm that was crazy on the Colorado Trail, and I thought that was absolutely wild. I was, I don't know, doing something nuts. But now some of the experiences I've had on the PCT have been way wilder. So I feel like it was a good stepping stone for me.
Such
but it
as?
feels similar. So I went through the Sierra really early.
When did you get to Kennedy Meadow South?
I got there, I think, on May 4th and
Wow.
left there on May 7th, which
Okay.
I knew was early, I guess, but I didn't really understand at the time how early it was. I think they recommend as a general blanket statement, June 15th.
On an average snow year,
Yeah.
And I think I didn't follow it that closely, but this year was about an average year.
Yeah, it was a little below average originally, and then they got a lot of snow late in the season,
Okay.
in March. So I'm not sure exactly how that played a role, but so it ended up being a pretty average
Yeah.
year. But yeah, we were at least a month, if not more, early. Like I went through with 2 guys, Jackson and Indy. So the 3 of us went through together, and we were like within the first 25 hikers to be in the Sierra.
Wow. Did you have previous snow hiking experience?
So this is where I fucked up. Am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
I, live in New Hampshire, and so I've done a lot of day hiking in the winter in New Hampshire, including like Mount Washington, which is known, or like famously known for having the worst weather in the world. Like tons of people have died on Washington, and I just did that last winter. So I'm thinking I've got plenty of hiking experience in snow conditions. I just hadn't backpacked in the snow before, so I thought the one thing I was nervous about was like if I have to set up my tent in the snow, having like a trekking pole tent, not a freestanding tent. That was like my one concern. Otherwise, I thought I got this. I was very wrong. I completely underestimated it. And I felt like I was like facing life-threatening situations multiple times a day, every day for like 3 weeks straight. So
is that just the water crossings or more?
No, the water crossings were a little sketchy to me.
I guess you were so early that it wasn't the massive melt. Yeah.
Well, we did hit kind of the sweet spot. At least the second half of this year is where it was like peak river height time, but then we also still had all the snow. Like it was just, I think we just hit it all. Like the perfect storm in a way. But no, I guess the life-threatening, like crazy stuff was some of the like sketchy like snow traverses where it's like a steep slope and there's like no like trail, no boot track cut in, and so you're just like there were so many situations where we should have had like crampons and like mountaineering gear, but you're in like little micro spikes and those are not sticking to the side of a slope.
Did you have an ice axe?
Yes.
Okay.
And I did use it. I never had to self-arrest, which is actually a miracle thinking back.
Do you know how to self-arrest?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I've had to do it ever, but I've practiced it a little bit beforehand.
Yeah.
So I like had an idea, although when you actually fall in the moment, it's hard to say if you're actually
sure, yeah, I guess.
do it right.
Trial by fire.
Or just be flailing around and not get your footing. But anyways, so yeah, I did use the ice axe to like glissade down, which I always thought, like seeing people do glissading online, that it was just like, oh, fun and quicker to get down. I didn't really realize until I was in it that like sometimes glissading is actually the way you have to get down or the safer way to get down. You know what I mean? Because if you're trying to traverse on something that there's no boot track and you fall, like you're more likely to fuck up and get hurt compared to if you intentionally glissade
a controlled
down.
slide versus an uncontrolled slide.
Exactly.
Yeah. So compare the scariest moment from going through the Sierra with getting your parachute tangled.
Honestly, I was way more scared in the Sierra than I was skydiving. I mean, that skydiving accident was so brief and I was maybe younger and dumber. I think I'm getting old and more scared. I don't know. But no, the Sierra was scary. Like I sort of joked about, which I don't know if it was really a joke, but being like traumatized from the Sierra.
Really?
Like I feel like I've bounced back from it now. It's been a few months and I'm getting over it. I'm processing it. But it really, for a minute there, it's almost the opposite of what you think. Like it was a blow to my confidence, to be honest, because I usually am not very scared of things, and I felt like terrified a lot of the time.
You mentioned a couple of wild experiences. What are some of the standout scaries?
Okay, so the main ones were, well, first of all, Whitney. We were, as far as we know, we were only the second group for the season from the PCT to summit. There was a group that tried the day before us that were unsuccessful. They had to turn back. So there was like barely a boot track at all. And we started at 12:30 in the morning. We started. So it's pitch dark. You've done Whitney?
Not on the PCT, but I've done it otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've done it from Guitar Lake.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that Guitar Lake part's like fine, whatever, and then you hit the switchbacks, which is where it gets really steep, and so there's like barely any boot track in the switchbacks, and there's like I don't know 100 feet maybe in the middle of each switchback that it was just like sheer, like there was nothing, and you're your spikes don't like stick in it. And so we were like literally mountaineering with the ice axe, like crab walking across, and like held through the mountain with the ice axe. So that was all like kind of scary, but fun scary. It was like pitch dark, so you couldn't really see exactly what would happen to you if you fell. But I was fine with that. But as we got like higher up on the switchbacks, the wind really hit, and I got so cold, like scary. I've never been that cold in my entire life. I couldn't feel my arms or my legs. I like couldn't think clearly. I thought I was gonna get frostbite and or hypothermia. And we still had a ways to go. And all I kept thinking was like, I have to get to the summit shelter. Someone had told me there was a shelter up there, and I had my sleeping bag in my pack. And all I could think was like, I have to get in the shelter, get my boots off, and get my sleeping bag and get warm, or I will not survive this. Like, that sounds so dramatic, but that's really what I believed. And so, for like 2 hours, the top 3 switchbacks and that whole like ridge, kind of 2 mile maybe walk on top, it was just the repeating in my head, like, get to the shelter, get to the shelter, get to the shelter. Like, that's the only way you're going to survive this. And so we finally get up there. The wind is ripping. It's chaotic. I can't hear anybody. Start approaching the shelter, and all of a sudden I realized there either isn't a door or the door was left open, and the whole shelter is full of snow. You can't even get into it. And I just cried. Like, I really, truly was like, how am I going to get down?
Yeah.
I can't feel my body.
You think it's cold climbing. Wait till you're descending.
Yeah. So what'd you do?
So, luckily, like, the wind was crazy, but the shelter, like, one side of it acted kind of as a windbreak. So I just kind of huddled behind that for a few, like, I don't know, in the fetal position maybe, like, trying to just regroup and get kind of warm. I couldn't take my boots off. Everything's covered in snow. You know, I couldn't get in my sleeping bag or anything like that. But we got up there right at sunrise at 5:30. So the sun was starting to come out. And what a difference in your just mental state when the sun comes out. Because we spent a lot of the Sierras starting to hike at 2, 3, 4 in the morning in the dark. And yeah, it just feels like you're a new person when the sun comes up.
Yeah.
So I was still miserable up on top. We did not spend long up there at all. Got a couple pictures. I really regret not getting a handstand picture up there.
Just your tears strolling
But I
down.
like could not feel my arms and legs. I was just like, in the moment, I was like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to kiss pavement.
Yeah. So we start making our way down, and at some point, I don't know if the wind died down or we just got low enough that the wind kind of finally stopped at some point, like on the switchbacks on the way down, and the sun was out, you know. And so I just gradually got warm, and I was fine. The end.
At least there's a happy ending on that one. Yeah, that's a good scary. Any other standout moments?
Yeah, so the next day or the day after that, we were stupid and did Forester Pass and Kearsarge Pass in the same day, which was not our original plan. We were going to do Forester, get close to Kearsarge camp, and then come out the next morning. Anyway, we were moving pretty good in the morning, making good time, and we're like, wouldn't it be fun to get into town tonight instead of tomorrow? So we made the decision to go over both passes, and at some point going up Kearsarge, like, there was, you know, there's nowhere to camp. We knew, like, we wouldn't be able to turn back, like, you were committed. And unfortunately, by that point in the day, we really started post-holing, and it started going slow. And so our timing was like, we're starting to realize we've made a huge mistake now. By the time we get down to Onion Valley, like, there's going to be nobody to give us a ride because it's going to be late. But anyways, coming up to the top of Kearsarge, like, it was crazy wind, but consistent wind. We get to the top. I like see the other side, which is just like this long snow traverse on a steep slope that goes way down to like an ice lake. And for some reason, once you came over the other side, the wind changed from consistent wind to gusts. It was like, we looked it up online later, 60-mile-an-hour gusts, supposedly. And so there was a boot track, that snow traverse coming down, but it wasn't like super wide, like not as wide as a trail. It's like, you know, single footprints that you're stepping in. And like when a gust would hit, I'm telling you, if you did not like sit the fuck down immediately and stab your trekking poles in the snow, like it would have blown you off the mountain. It was so scary. So it was me, Jackson, and Indy were kind of spread out. I'm in the back. I can see them like up ahead. Every time like you'd hear the wind gust like a split second before it hit you, and the three of us would just boom, like fucking hit the ground. Halfway through, I actually snapped one of my trekking poles like clean in half, because that's how much of my body weight was like my life depended on those trekking poles. And so I started like screaming to the boys. I don't know what the hell they were gonna do, but I just panicked, like, oh shit, now I only have one trekking pole. But they couldn't hear me over the wind anyways, and they were too far ahead. So I couldn't even find the piece of the trekking pole that broke. I like looked for a second, but it was like deep in the snow somewhere, and not that it wouldn't have been usable anyways, because it actually snapped. So yeah, then I had one trekking pole to get down the rest of the
Jesus.
So whatever, we made it. It's just like one of those things again where you're just focused. Like, I have no choice right now. I just have to like keep moving forward. So even if that's slow, like the wind gust stops and you get 10 steps forward and then you got to sit down again, like eventually you'll get there. And what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like sit here and wait for it to pass? Like, that's not going to happen. So
Did you get to the trailhead?
yeah, we made it to the trailhead. There was no one in the parking lot.
What time was it?
For it was like 6:30, but it was just so early season, and the campground at the trailhead was closed, which we didn't know. So there was really probably no chance of getting a ride, even if we had made it at a reasonable time, 3:00 or something. But there was this other thru hiker that had started to go up to Kearsarge Pass from town that day, or the day before, and then they turned back because of the weather. And then he realized once he got to not Bishop, but whatever the closer town is that Independence? Well,
Lone Pine?
No, Lone Pine's south.
I want
It might be Independence.
Well, whatever. So they were just in that closer town, and he realized he like lost his wallet or something. So they found like a trail angel to bring him back. So he sort of was running up the trail to where they originally stopped for a break or something to see if he could find his wallet. And so we saw this guy, like, as we're coming down, like, running down ahead of us. And we're like, hey, like, Jackson's ahead, like, yelling to him, like, trying to get his attention. And I'm way in the back, and I'm just like, help! Like, because it just felt like, just this crazy situation. So anyways, we eventually caught up to him, and the trail angel agreed to bring us all the way to Bishop, which is, like, an hour drive.
Yeah.
But he charged us $100. But I was like,
fair.
Name your price, because he didn't want to do it. I'm like, name your price.
Yeah,
I'll pay anything. I don't care.
Got my firstborn, my leg. Like, I just need a warm bed right now. Man, that's wild. Not even remotely close to your situation, but we got caught in a snowstorm going through in September, Jabba and I, and we ended up sleeping in the bathrooms at that trailhead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well,
don't recommend it.
I think I didn't really realize how much it would have been fine if we had to just camp at the trailhead and get a ride the next day. But it was supposed to get really cold that night. That also influenced our decision to try to get into town early. It was going to significantly get colder.
Yeah. It's funny what coming from that pass going into Bishop can do to your morale, because Bishop's a cool town too.
Oh, I loved Bishop. We actually hung out there for a bit. So we stalled slightly. We took 3 days in Kennedy Meadows and then 3 days in Bishop because we were trying to time the opening of VVR as a resupply point. So we got there on opening day. Okay. But we had to take those few zeros, which was great. I loved Bishop. I would have hung out longer.
Yeah. And gives you a chance to regroup a little bit. Yeah. Totally.
All right.
Let's work backwards a little bit, because I see that you had a fun little challenge in the desert as well.
Oh, yep. Yeah, so that was actually right when I first started hiking with Jackson and Indy, who I ended up going through the Sierra with, and I think this is what bonded us in the first place. There's like supposedly the Tahachapi challenge. I don't know how many people actually do this.
I haven't heard of this.
I don't think I have either. Actually.
Yeah, I hadn't either, but so I don't know if we made that up or whatever. But so from Hikertown, which is kind of a resupply point, not exactly a town. It's more like a weird hostel thing. From Hikertown to Tahachapi is 40 miles, like almost exactly. And so apparently, maybe we made it up, the Tahachapi challenge is to do that in one shot. And I think it started because going out of Hikertown is the aqueduct section, which is flat for like at least 15 miles. And it's hot. That's in the Mojave Desert. So a lot of people do that overnight. So it started from like night hiking the aqueduct to then you just push the next day and get all the way to Tahachapi. And so that was the plan, was three of us decided to do that, which nobody else was doing it. Like, there was a bunch of people leaving Hikertown at night, but they were just going to hike, 15 or 20 miles to get over the aqueduct and camp. So anyways, the three of us decided we're going to do the Tahachapi challenge. None of us had ever hiked a big day before. All of us were right around like 25 to 27 miles was our biggest day ever, not just on this trail, but ever. And so I don't know what we were thinking, but so we start that. We started at 6:15 at night, and man, those two can hike fast. That was my first time actually hiking with them. I had been around them for a while, but they hike fast anyways. And then knowing that they're trying to do like 40 miles in one shot, they had to be going 4+ miles an hour out of the gate.
Sheesh.
Like, I'm like way shorter than them. I'm like struggling to keep up from the jump. So that, was some foreshadowing of what my whole Sierra experience turned into. But, so yeah, we're hiking fast. After the aqueduct, it turns into like these dirt roads. And by this point it's like dark, and we were walking like all next to each other talking because it was like a wide dirt road. Long story long. We, missed a turn at some point, and we were just like walking and chatting, and at some point when we realized we were like 1.5 miles off trail, and so the initial like, oh no, we're trying to do 40 miles and now we just got like way off trail, what the hell. So we kind of like circle around to try to get back to the trail. We ended up adding a few, like 2+ miles to the night from doing that. And it was wild because that's where you enter like the wind turbine farm, which I did not know was going to happen. And so we were like walking right next to the wind turbines, which are just so massive and make weird sounds, and it's nighttime, and then there's Joshua trees everywhere, and you get the red blinking lights from the wind turbines that are making creepy. The Joshua trees have like weird shadows. It just felt so creepy, especially being lost.
It's a good thing you don't smoke weed.
Dude, so many people like doing mushrooms and like turn it into a party, like the aqueduct night hike. I'm like, that would be just asking for a bad trip.
I have enough anxiety already.
Because like I've never tried acid ever, but we had a group in the desert that I was hiking with that like a bunch of them wanted to do acid for one of the night hike portions. And just listening to them talk about what they were seeing was fucking insane. Like they were describing the desert night hiking as looking like a sketchbook, and like everything was sketched on the pages, and like I'm the guide. Like I got nominated as the guide because I'm the one that's not on acid, because I'm the only one that's not on drugs. So I've got to watch the people who are and make sure we get to where we're supposed to go. But I'm standing there listening to it, and I'm like, that doesn't sound fun. That sounds really scary. If the trail turned into a sketchbook.
Acid sounds more fun than mushrooms.
I actually haven't tried acid, so I can't say, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Are you tapping your leg like that?
Just trying to run the math there. Like, I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I do it.
That'd be a good time. Cool.
Well, we were not on drugs. We just truly got lost, and
it was trippy enough without the added assistance.
It was. We were all saying like, "Wow, I'm so glad that we're together right now, and I'm not by myself, like lost in the middle of the night." Anyway, so we get to there was like a creek about 24 miles in. We had barely to even taken a 5-minute break, 24 miles in, and we get the plan was to get water there and like take a quick dirt nap next to the trail for 15 minutes or something, which I did not think I was going to do. I'm not really a nap person. I'm like, I'm just going to have a snack and send it. Anyways, but they fell asleep. I got bored, so I laid down, and we all did sleep for like a half an hour. Anyway, get back going again. The wind is crazy. It's still pitch dark out. It's now 3 a.m. or something. And we're just moving as fast as possible. Eventually the sun comes out. It was like probably the prettiest sunrise I've seen on trail, and that was the first time I really experienced that. Like, wow, does your whole attitude change when the sun comes out? Because at this point you're tired, like we're 30 miles in or whatever, and it just feels chaotic, but the sun comes out and it just changes your whole mood. Anyway, so at some point Jackson, who was always the instigator of our group, pushing us to do maybe not the smartest things, love you, Jackson, at some point, Jackson does the math. So like I said, it's 40 miles from Hikertown to Tahachapi, but there's actually 2 ways into Tahachapi. So that would be the first way in. If you go like 8.5 miles further, there's a highway that you can also go into Tahachapi. So if you pushed all the way from Hikertown to the highway, it would be like 48.5 miles, I think. So at some point, Jackson gets it in his head that like, hey, we made a 2-mile detour. So
Bonus
if we go
miles.
all the way to the highway, we will actually have truly done over 50 miles. Like, when are we ever going to have that opportunity again? Like, let's do that. And me and Indy, I think, were tired and like reluctant to go along with this. He was pitching it as an idea, like, we'll see how we feel when we get to the first road crossing. But we both knew, Jackson, like, no, once he gets an idea in his head, he's gonna follow through with it.
Yeah.
So anyways, we made it to the first road crossing as expected. Jackson's like, yeah, I feel great. Like, let's go to the second one. And so me and Indy just went along with it. So the three of us pushed the second one. We finished, I think, just before 1 p.m. So I think it was like just under 19 hours. We did 50 miles. And yeah, got a ride into town. And I think I took 2 zeros after that.
Yeah, sure.
But honestly, I did not feel nearly as bad as I would have expected, having never done anything close to that as far as mileage goes in a day. I felt fine the next day.
Really?
Yeah, I was walking around fine. Jackson had a little bit of pain in like the front of his ankle, whatever that tendon is called. And
did you
got
rub it
some
in his
advice.
face that you felt okay?
Huh?
Did you rub it in his face that you felt
No,
okay?
we weren't that close yet.
Okay.
We did. That was our first night, like really bonding.
Yeah, okay.
Now we're close enough that we give each other shit.
Yeah.
But no. Yeah. So anyways, he had a little bit of pain there, and that is she a physical therapist? Blaze?
Oh, Blaze physio? Yeah.
Yeah, she gave him some advice, and he was really religious about doing certain stretches every night ever since that 50-mile push.
Yeah.
So we were all fine to continue, but
I think Blaze is here this weekend.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I also see that you got an injury at some point in this.
Yes. I sprained my ankle and then just kept hiking on it. So I was in the Sierra. Well, I guess I was like, depending on where you consider the Sierra to end. I had just passed Kenny Meadows North, which in my head was the end of the Sierra, but really the Sierra Mountains like continued to the Cascades further up, but out of the high Sierra. So maybe 75 miles or so before South Lake Tahoe. I was hiking by myself, and I was 6 miles into a 22-mile day, and I just rolled my ankle really bad. Like, I feel like as hikers, we do that all the time, but with your trekking poles, you kind of catch yourself. It might hurt a little bit, but you catch it before it like crosses the line. That time I did not catch it. I went down, and I immediately like thought I was going to throw up. It hurt so bad. And so I sat there for a minute, like stunned. I got my pack off, and then eventually I stood up without my pack, trying to put like weight on it to see. I'm just thinking I got to just walk it off, probably, right? Everybody's rolled their ankle before. So I start hobbling in a circle, and I'm like gonna throw up. Like, it hurts so bad, and I'm like, this is not good. But what the hell am I gonna do?
Did you think that you'd broken it at that point?
I did. I don't know. I didn't really think that way. I just more was like, can I keep hiking? I don't want to push a fucking red button.
Yeah.
Over I rolled my ankle. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking I just rolled my ankle. Like, no big deal. Like, I'll just walk it off and it'll be fine. So anyways, hobbling around without my pack, not feeling good. So I sat back down for like maybe 10 minutes, had like a snack, finally didn't feel nauseous anymore, put my pack on, stood up, and I'm trying to hike with my pack, and I am like using my trekking poles as crutches. Like, I can hardly put weight on it. And this is still like serious snow, like every like mound of snow. It was like that moundy, like dry trail in between. So you're having to go up onto a mountain and down off a mountain. And like everything just felt like the biggest obstacle because it's all slippery too. And I'm trying to do this like 1-footed essentially. So anyways, I just keep thinking if I just keep hiking, like it'll just be fine. I'll just hike it off, walk it off, you know? And so, yeah, that first mile was absolutely brutal. Like, I wasn't full on sobbing, crying, but I was like welling up because I'm like, how am I going to get through this day? I'm not, going to get a helicopter rescue though. So we're just going to see what we can do. So anyways, first 3 miles were pretty rough, but around mile 3 is when I started to feel like I was actually moving a little bit faster and putting a little more weight on it. Like, it still hurt, but I was moving faster.
Did you take Tylenol or anything?
I didn't. Oh my God, the comments on YouTube, people like, why didn't you ice it? Why didn't you have a wrap? Why didn't you take ibuprofen?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought I had to walk it off.
Yeah.
So anyways, probably about mile 3, I was finally starting to move faster. So I used my Garmin to text the boys because they were ahead of me to just say like, hey, I rolled my ankle. I'm hiking on it, but I'm moving slow. Like, I think I can make it to our like intended camp tonight, but I might be late, just FYI. And so Indy ended up, he was at like a high point a few miles ahead of me, and it was a good spot for him with cell phone service and lunch. He's like, I'll wait for you here. And so I guess they had kind of like looked on far out to like see if there was like any road I could get out or anything. They were trying to help if, you know, if I needed to get out, like try to be ahead of the game and figure some of that logistics out. So anyways, by the time I got up to him, I was like another few miles further, and I was going uphill, and I think uphill was a lot more comfortable than down because there was like less, you know, weight coming down on my foot. So it was still hurting, but it was whatever. So anyways, when I got up to him, and I told him like, no, I don't want to get out. I think I can hike to South Lake Tahoe. It was at first it was just like, can I get through this day, you know? And then by halfway through the day or finishing that day, it was like, okay, can I get to town now, you know? Like, you're just thinking in that like immediate future. Like, so yeah, long story short, I got through the rest of the day, another 16 miles on it. I'm thinking it's gonna be brutal when I wake up, and it really wasn't. It was swollen pretty bad, and you know, you're always hobbling out of your tent a little bit first thing in the morning on a thru hike, but overall it didn't feel like significantly worse. So I was able to hike the next day, and then got to South Lake Tahoe, took a 0, and I was just all this time like really careful not to roll it again, you know? And then once I got to South Lake Tahoe, it's just like, okay, well, now can I make it to Truckee? And so I did the next stretch to Truckee. And there I took 3 days off. That was where I had already planned in advance I was going to separate from the boys. They were on a schedule because they have to go back to college, and I didn't want to necessarily like maintain the mileage that they were doing within the lack of zeros to the end. So I took 3 days off in Truckee. I figured I would just regroup after separating with them, and also it'd be a good chance for my ankle to like the swelling to hopefully go down. And so, yeah, the swelling did go down a bit, and then I finally leave Truckee, and within 5 to 10 miles, I did it again.
Oh, no.
And it hurt just as bad the second time when I did it. Immediately thought I was going to throw up, did cry. And then, but the difference was, I think maybe it was a mental thing, like where I had already done it. I knew if I just kept walking on it, it'd be fine. This is really bad advice, by the way. So same thing. I just kind of kept hiking on it and was like more careful to not do it again after that. But the swelling was way worse the second time because this was only like, you know, less than 2 weeks apart probably. So anyways, hiked on it for a couple more weeks. I don't know how many hundreds of miles I did since the first roll, but you know, I never got it looked at. I don't know. I just didn't think I had time for that. And then for a completely unrelated reason, by the time I got to Chester, I decided to go home spontaneously for a quick break. So I flew home to New Hampshire, and when I was there, I had, 6 days. I had some free time. I had my car, and my family, my husband, my mom were like, you should probably go get that x-rayed. So I went to just like an urgent care and got x-rays done. So nothing was broken. She said I just sprained it. She was like, cool. She was like, I would advise you to like rest, elevate, ice, all those things, whatever that RICE acronym is. She's like, but she had already knew the story that I'd already been hiking hundreds of miles on it, and that I was turning around and getting back on trail in a couple days. And she's like, do what you got to do. She recommended taping it because that helps prevent you from rolling it, because it's like you feel the tightness of the tape and catch yourself quicker.
It gives you more feedback.
Yeah. Which was great advice that I did not take. But I felt like, especially after that week off, like the swelling really, it's still like the tiniest bit swollen. I think it's just going to be permanently slightly swollen for the rest of my life.
Is it still painful?
No,
okay,
not at all.
Damn. Well, yeah, not medical advice.
Yeah, no, don't do what I did.
How was it going home for a week? Because when I did the PCT, Jenna came out a couple of times, and the second time she came out was for longer. And when we split up, that was emotionally tough for me. Like, I feel like I had adapted back to like my relationship, normal life. Going home, especially, I feel like would be even harder. How was that for you?
You know, I totally get that. Like, I think a lot of people say that. And I never went home on the AT. As close as the AT comes to my house, I never went home. And that was not my plan at this trail. But honestly, the Sierra, like I said, was like so traumatizing. Right at the end of the Sierra is when I sprained my ankle. And then another story, which we don't have to get into all the details of that. My navigation got messed up on my phone. And so I got lost. And every time I'd get to town, I'm trying to like call, my phone, T-Mobile or Apple, trying to figure out how to fix my phone, because it wasn't just far out. It was like my Compass app, my Google Maps, all the navigation was messed up. It was showing me I was like thousands of feet below where I was, off trail from where I was. And so I was like reliant on hiking with other people, because not only like is it easy to lose the trail in the snow, but there was also some crazy like overgrown bushwhacky or like down tree sections where you could lose the trail really easy. And so anyways, long story short, I had like all these like crazy things happening for that last like month and a half, that I felt like I was like in pure survival mode for like a month and a half. And so going home was like this nice little like break that I really think I needed mentally to like regroup. And when I came back, that was actually the reason I went home, was to go to an Apple store, which is ridiculous. But there was no Apple store near Chester, California. Yeah. The closest one was going to be Sacramento, 3 hours away, or Reno, 2 hours away. So I'm like, well, if I have to get my ass all the way to one of those cities to do an Apple store, then I might as well fly home, because there's an airport there. So anyways, so I dealt with the phone situation. My ankle was better, whatever. Like everything just, I felt like I had like a fresh start when I came back.
Chauncey's picking up the typing on the mic. Are you typing? Oh, sorry. You can type, just I would move the mic.
No, that's fine. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I was just making a note.
Yeah. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, I felt like it was like a solid break. I enjoyed my time home, and I just felt like refreshed coming back. I don't think it wasn't hard coming back. I'm definitely was determined to come back and finish.
Yeah.
I actually felt guilty taking the break in the first place. Like I felt like obviously it's still a through hike if you do the whole hike within the season calendar year, right? But part of me just felt like it was like wrong to like take a plane and go home in the middle of it.
Sure.
So I think that no matter how hard it would have been to leave the comfort of home, it was overpowered by the fact that I needed to come back and prove that I was still doing this whole hike.
Are you still on a continuous footpath?
Yes, sort of. There was one 18-mile section before Wrightwood that is a fire closure. The fire happened last year, and that section is not going to reopen until next year. So this entire year, it is not possible to hike that 18 miles.
Yeah.
And we were told that you couldn't do the road either because there was like construction on the road. So I did have an 18-mile gap, but there was nothing I could do about that. So you've done as much as you possibly can. Right? Yeah, there was one other fire closure, Northern California, that section was like briefly closed, and it happened to be when I was hiking through there. So I did a road walk, so it was continuous. I walked to town from the last point on trail and then to the next town. Yeah.
This is a reoccurring theme on the podcast, especially for people that go AT, PCT, but a lot of people carry over the purism of the AT, like I must see every white blaze. And then on the PCT, this has been a very lucky year so far, again, knock on wood. But people have to adapt to the environment and like just take what the trail gives you. And most years, especially in the last decade plus, that can mean many hundreds of miles are missed because of fires. Have you felt that struggle at all? I mean, I guess it's 18 miles, and again, you didn't really have the option to do anything else.
Yeah, I don't feel guilt over that one or anything, but I also think I was in the right mentality coming into this, because I was super purist on the ET, not only about like connected footpath, every step, the whole thing, but also in other ways too, like no slap packing or no using privies. Like I had like all these weird rules for myself. Is a good one. No listening to music. Like
you didn't listen to music?
Rules, not once on the ET.
Wow.
Now I have been a little bit. I know. I don't know why.
Did you listen to
like
books
anybody else
or like podcasts? You just raw dogged the whole thing.
Raw dogged it, yes.
It's actually incredibly
Jesus.
impressive. I got to imagine the percentage of people that do that is very small, and like 99% of them are probably much older hikers.
Yeah. Well, I had come from only day hiking, so I just never listened to music day hiking.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just had it in my head that that's what I was going to do on the thru hike. But now on the PCT, I have listened to music here and there, not much. But I'm like, man, why the fuck didn't I do that sooner? It does like sometimes when you're just like pissy and like willing the day to be over, like it really can just like make you chill out. 100%. And like I don't think it takes away from hiking either. I feel like I'm still like enjoying all the scenery. It almost like enhances it.
Yeah. And if anything, like on days I'm dragging, like I noticed in the beginning of like hiking, I'll hike at a pretty like moderate pace for myself, but then by the middle of it, I definitely slow down to an absolute mosey where I am just moseying from point to point. And it's nice sometimes to put on the music because then you get something with a faster tempo. And you can like mosey a little less.
Especially a long thru hike, like something like the PCT, where like a shorter hike, I feel like is still honeymoon period enough that like you can keep yourself entertained. But after a couple of months, it's nice to throw on a podcast and have a distraction.
Agreed.
Or learn about something.
I will interject, like doing the YouTube videos does entertain me throughout the day. Because I'm like constantly filming things and or like thinking about what I might want to talk about or how I'm going to put the thing. So I'm entertained by that for sure, which most people don't have that.
It is nice because like I feel like I've gotten comments where it's like, why are you saying we? Like you're hiking by yourself. Why do you refer to everything with we? And I'm like, because I'm carrying you with me. I am picking you up and I'm taking you with me. So we are going to here.
That's
but
funny.
It's fun because it's like, even if you're not hiking with anyone during the day, like I'm talking to this little like screen in front of my face. And I'm like, okay, we're going here now.
Are you an I or a we?
I do both, I guess. I do like to say we. I like to include the audience, but
it's interesting. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah. When they said it, I was like, I look like I like have 7 personalities probably, and like all of us are going to the next point.
I'm ready to hike. Are you?
I'm having a great time. I'm not. We'll get it together.
Did you capture either of your major sprains while you were recording?
The first one, I wasn't like recording as it happened, but I like when I was still on the ground before I even stood up to see how it felt, I got out the camera, which that is something I will say is a very like conscious thing that I've practiced over the years. Like when you're going through a really tough situation or you're upset or whatever, like your natural reaction is not to get out your camera and film yourself. 100%. And I feel like it even seems like cringy to watch it when people do that, film themselves crying. But it's like that real shit is what people want to see. So if you can manage it in those tough situations to actually get it on camera, like it's so much more impactful for the viewer than you just telling the story at the end of the day about what happened. It's like show, not tell.
Yeah. That's why I found it very hard to blog. I blogged for a whole 3 days before I just switched straight to video.
A whole 3 days.
Yeah, a whopping 3. And like the thumb thing was hard. But then the other thing was like by the end of the day, like I'm thinking about it in retrospect and I'm not as heated or passionate or like I don't feel like typing as much about it because I'm not in that moment. I've gone past it. Yeah. And so doing that as a recap at night for me, I felt like I don't even want to read this. It's boring. You know, like I ate oatmeal today. I walked. I got to a break. Versus when you're in the moment, you're taking the video. It's like I'm like crying and sweating and like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to do. Or even just like the tough situations. Like for example, our first night on the long trail, it was pouring rain. And so we go to set up the tent. Like you're frantically like want to get the tent set up so you can get all your shit dry, right? But like to go set up the tripod and set up the camera and film it, like that's just not your priority in the moment. But I'm so glad I did that night because it was my first night setting up that tent. And it was me and my husband, and we're struggling to set it up, and it just was like chaotic, and I'm like swearing in the video and bitching or whatever, and it ended up being like such a great thing to include. Like it felt like cringy a little bit when I was editing it because it's not a good look, but that like actual real moment, like frustration of trying to figure out how to set up a tent that you haven't used before in the rain is just like most people don't show that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, I have to ask another stereotypical question. So you've hiked into Cascade Locks. I know it's not complete. You still have a very amazing stretch of trail ahead of you, but give us the AT versus PCT comparison.
Oh God, the PCT is so much better. I love this trail. I'm so grateful I did the AT first. Of course, I love the AT. It was my first through hike, and you know, they're all going to be special in their own way, especially the experiences you have and the people you're around. But the PCT, first of all, the grading is like the easy, like coming from, I hike in the White Mountains is like my normal hiking. So you know that terrain is like aggressive. Yeah. So the grading on this trail is like insane to me. I've never hiked anything like that with switchbacks and just easy. And then you're spoiled with views all day, every day. It's so beautiful. I loved California. I loved I don't even think you should call it the desert. I was expecting like desert. But it didn't feel very deserty. It's like more mountainous than I thought. I started early, so it wasn't that hot either. Loved Southern California. Loved the Sierra, even though it didn't love me.
Type 2.
It was beautiful, and I don't regret it, but it was, brutal but beautiful. And then Northern California, I had low expectations. I feel like people talk shit about Northern California, and I thought it was way more views and everything than I thought. You just pop in and out of the trees a little bit, but it's so pretty.
Yeah.
Oregon wasn't my favorite because it's a little more East Coast vibe, like lots of trees.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel mountainous trees. At least Southern Oregon, it just feels like flat trees and mosquitoes.
Yeah.
But looking forward to Washington.
Washington is incredible. You're gonna love Washington.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
can't.
jealous that you get to go hike Washington.
Yeah.
Liz, this has been awesome. It's been nice to sit down and finally have like a longer chat with you. So thank you for doing this. Obviously, let people know where to go for the YouTube, Instagram. Are you on TikTok?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I have it for work, but not for hiking.
Yeah.
So yeah, YouTube and Instagram is just my name, Liz Kidder, Kidder.
Sweet. I guess we have to. I have two more questions.
Okay.
One is the CDT going to happen?
Yeah, I mean you can't do two, right? So yeah, no,
That's what they say.
I would love to do the CDT. I don't think I'm like a back-to-back year like long hike person. So there'll probably be 1 year in between.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think if my math is right, if I waited 2 years in between, then I'd be like turning 40 on the CDT, which sounds kind of like a fun way to turn 40.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to wait that long. I think I'll do it the year after next.
Okay. And then we do have a sponsor question here.
Yes.
This is the peak performance question presented by Topo Athletic. Use code TrekFall15 at topoathletic.com. What is your top performance enhancing or backpacking hack?
Performance enhancing or backpacking hack? That is a great question that you've stumped me on. Well, can I just give like the best piece of advice I think I got like before my first thru hike?
100%.
It wasn't even directly for me. It was I think it was like a Dixie video that she said, don't approach a thru hike like when packing gear and stuff for your thru hike. Like don't think about all the things you might possibly need for the next 6 months, right? Think of it as town to town. So when you're, most of your town stops are going to be like 4 to 6 days apart, right? So are you going to need like 18 Band-Aids and bug spray and sunblock and all, you know what I mean? Like those are all things you might need throughout the hike. But what is the bare minimum that you need to get to the next town? Like maybe 1 Band-Aid. Do you really need bug spray if you don't even know if there's bugs? Like can you deal with the bugs for 4 days until you get to the next town? And then if they're a problem, buy that bug spray when you get to town. And that just really helped like shape my mentality about how to pack for a thru hike. Like I feel like having 0 experience ever backpacking, I started off with like such a minimal lightweight kit. I mean, I'm not ultra light, but pretty damn close. And I barely changed my gear or got rid of anything on my first hike because I felt like I started off with a solid kit.
What's
Are
your
you
base weight?
still using the LLB and sleeping bag?
Well, I used it for years, but it was finally like done. Like I need a new one, and they discontinued that one. So but I also don't have a traditional backpacking sleeping bag either anymore. I switched to Kuyu, which is a hunting brand. It is the best sleeping bag. I love it.
Oh, interesting.
But I'm also a mummy bag girl, not a quilt person. And so
What
to answer
degree is
your
it?
question, my base weight, is that what you said?
Yeah. 2 questions. Sorry, I keep interrupting you with new questions.
I would guess it's about 14 or 15 pounds right now. But to be honest, my main problem is because of all the editing I do. I carry 3 20,000 battery packs.
Yeah.
And a 100-watt block and charging cords. And now I have an extra phone because I was scared of the navigation problem after that whole mishap. So my electronics bag is like by far the heaviest thing.
That's probably what, 3-4 pounds of power banks just by itself.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's fun.
That's like my like guilty, like I don't want to admit this, is when I bring the second block and I've got like the 2 massive ones.
It's my
'Cause
luxury
sometimes
item.
if one gets cold, it's like 3 bars, and then it gets cold and it says it's dead, and it's like, I know you are not dead.
Well,
so I always have the second.
I'm doing like 2 to 3 hours a night of editing in my tent. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I can stretch battery further if I know I needed to go like 7 or 8 nights or something, which you never do. But I could just do a little less editing and try to catch up in town. But yeah, I like need that much battery.
Yeah. Well, if you're listening to this, go subscribe to Liz on YouTube, follow her on Instagram, all the places. Liz, this is awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. Let's go party.
Yeah. To the Trek propaganda portion of today's show. Did I feature this first one already? I feel like I might have, so I'm going to skip it. My instincts are telling me that we featured this one. I'm going to skip it. But the second one, this is a spicy one. This is by managing it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, she's back in the saddle now. Shout out to Kelly, who wrapped the GDT recently. Kelly wrote the piece, Why You Shouldn't Wear Underwear on Your Thru-hike. Kelly is one of my favorite reads of all time because she's obviously very smart, but she's very funny too.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the call outs in this one are very good. I will say I don't agree with the piece, but I'm always very entertained by her pieces. And obviously she's coming from a very experienced position. Kelly doesn't wear underwear and offers many of the reasons why. I'll just call out some of the bigger bullet points. Is they are worthless and serve no functional purpose in the backcountry. They are a waste of money and base weight, and no wedgies.
Yeah.
Those are two
Again,
things.
love you, Kelly. I don't know if I agree with this one, but
You're an underwear wearer.
oh yeah, gotta
Yeah.
have them. I
Dude.
did hike with somebody that had a pair of underwear for every day on trail, which I don't agree with. I'm not if I'm 6 days on trail, I'm not carrying 6 pairs of underwear.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
I'm max 2 pairs of underwear.
Okay.
What about you?
I usually bring 3, and then let's get real personal, guys. I'll wear them for like a couple of days. I'll do the old like rotate them around kind of deal, and then if I'm feeling really saucy, I might wash some off in some filtered water.
Yeah. I'll just wear the same pair through and then wear the clean pair once I get into town, and then just wear that while I wash the other pair. Rinse and repeat.
Never do any hiker laundry?
It kind of just depends on the specific setup, but most of the time I have my wind pants, which are slightly see-through, so that might land me in a jail cell if I were to go underwearless in that. But yeah, if I've got my actual rain pants, then I'll definitely clean both of them. Otherwise, I'll just clean the semi-dirty ones in the sink somewhere. But Kelly also provides the counter argument to not wearing underwear. And reason number 2 here is the reason why I wear underwear, and that's the chafing prevention.
Yeah.
I've never gone no, that's not true. I've gone underwearless wearing a kilt on the AT, which was not for me. It was a little too revealing, as you might imagine. But yeah, underwear for me is I wouldn't say it prevents or stops chafing, but it helps chafing.
Underwear has given me chafing before.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah.
I do find that I'm pulling it down as it rides up throughout the day, but as long as it's not riding too much, it helps me a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, sometimes I think it just gets so hot outside that anything touching any part of skin is just going to get irritated.
For sure. Do you have a go-to brand?
Ooh, ex officios.
Yeah.
Although I would like them to not have like the baggy grandma undies set up. Maybe if they have like a cute little boy short or something.
Yeah. I go back and forth between Ex Officio and Saks. I think they both do really, really good stuff. Have you tried Brandwin?
Nuh-uh. Oh, I've heard of them. They do like a sports merino wool.
Yeah, they do like a merino blend.
Uh-huh.
I know the people that have used it have liked it quite a lot.
That being said, more merino wool sports bras. I think that is an untapped market.
Yeah.
I've seen it just in a couple of brands.
Yeah. Good. I'm going to throw it to Jess to call out a blogger.
Oh, I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of my favorite bloggers of the season's anniversary and the historian. This one particularly was day 93. The Katahdin Stream Campground Miracle arrives. And for some relevant background, Anniversary set out to hike the AT in 1975, but she fell short of a full through hike due to blisters and winter. At the time, she was a rare female solo hiker, and she stopped at the base of Katahdin on November 11th, 1975. So this year marks the 50th anniversary of that attempt, and her and her husband headed back to trail to finish what she started. And in this blog, she dives into her mental state as she reserves campsites at Katahdin Springs Campground, preparing to finally summit Katahdin 50 years after she first abandoned the attempt.
Wow.
Yeah, the blog dives into feelings of self-doubt, worthiness, shame, and self-compassion. I thought it was really beautiful and introspective, and one of my favorite blogs of the year.
Hell yeah. Love that. A 50-year anniversary. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So that, for me, will be 2061 drink. What will I'll be old. I'll be real old.
Yeah, you'll be old.
I'll be old. If I could still even do like a lash at that age, I'll consider that a victory.
Okay, yeah. At that point, you wouldn't even need ex officios because you'll have diapers.
That's true. Maybe ex officio will come out with a diaper line and we can split the difference.
Now we're talking.
Question of the day. Would you rather hike 2 miles uphill with no switchbacks, steep grade, or 5 miles uphill with switchbacks, moderate grade? I don't know why I had so much trouble with that. What do you think?
Is the context matter here? Like, is this a through hike? Is this just a day hike?
You can paint whatever
picture.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. I think largely I'm going to enjoy a 5 mile uphill with switchbacks much more than I'm going to enjoy a 2 mile with no switchbacks.
Yeah.
Like if I want to enjoy my hike, I'm gonna do the 5 miles. I like walking.
Yeah.
I want it to be easier.
Yeah. Generally, I concur. This is basically, in my head, the AT versus the PCT. This is the difference between the two trails, is kind of that exact summary. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than that. Humidity, scenery, all the good stuff. But I'll say when I'm in good shape, I actually don't mind either. Like, when I did the long trail, I was in good shape, and I actually liked the challenge of the steep climbs. I still pick the 5 miles with switchbacks and a more moderate grade, just because typically when it's that steep of an uphill, it's also a steep downhill.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't like as much. I climbs tend to be fun and downhills tend to be bad for my knees. But yeah, I'd be interested to meet the person that would like the switchbackless steep 2 mile climb, because I feel like that's most people's kryptonite.
Yeah, I feel like if the context is a little important, because if you're on a through hike and you have some mileage you got to crush, and I'm like, if I can do 15 miles over 17 miles today,
Sure,
you know, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Right? Or what would it be? It would be 15. It'd be 18 over 20. I don't know. You math it. You math it. So anyway, if that's the context and I can cut off a little bit of mileage, like, yeah, I'm going to do that on the through hike. But if I'm enjoying my hiking day, I'm probably going to do 5 miles uphill.
Yeah, fair. Good. I have a stupid thing of the week. This is, I guess, sort of a failed loop backpacking overnighter I was going to do. I had a little bit of time before PCT trail days. I was going to try to do, it was the Buchanan, I forget the full name of the loop, but over in Indian Peaks Wilderness, it was a pretty popular, like 30-ish mile loop. And moral of the story is it didn't end up doing the full loop because not only was it much steeper than I was expecting, but the terrain was much slower going. It was much rockier. There was a lot of scree, and it just slowed our pace. And I had only budgeted enough food for basically a day, and 2 p.m. rolled around, and Sierra and I had only covered 10 miles of the 30 miles, and I was like, all right, I can either put myself in an uncomfortable, stupid situation or just turn back here. It ended up being an awesome day hike, so I had a really good experience, but not what I had set out for. The stupid thing of the week was not finishing the loop. Turning back was actually smart. The stupid thing was I had brought a water filter, the Sawyer Micro, and didn't test the flow rate before leaving, and it was completely clogged.
Yeah, that's a rookie mistake.
Yeah. Not only is it a rookie mistake, this is a repeated rookie mistake. So I ended up drinking unfiltered stream water, which I got Giardia on the AT, and I vowed that even if a spring looked pristine, I was never going to do that again. I did it again. Lived to tell the story. I didn't end up with any life-altering diarrhea or upchucking, but it's always kind of nerve-wracking when you're doing it in the moment, especially the research that I had seen was something like, this is after the fact, so I didn't have the stats with me at the time, but it was 10% of water sources tested in high country terrain in Colorado tested positive for Giardia cysts.
Yeah.
So that's Russian roulette right there.
Yeah, big time.
We should get someone on to talk about this subject because
We should spin the wheel with Giardia water. Is what we should do.
There you go. You end up puking just like the alcohol, the same. But from my research, it's unclear as to whether those water samples were enough Giardia cysts to actually get sick. Like, apparently you can have some Giardia in it, and most people can handle that. So it would be interesting to get someone on who's like a expert on the subject to talk through that. But I know enough to know that, just because a water source looks clean doesn't mean it's clean. And I think Colorado has notoriously like high rates of Giardia infection. So yeah, that made me uneasy. Ended up being okay, but yeah, I can't believe I made the same mistake of grabbing a filter without testing it. Again, this is not I'm not shitting on Sawyer's product at all, because I went back and back flushed it, and it ended up working fine after like 2 back flushes. Like, it didn't take much to get it into working shape. I just didn't dot my T's and cross my I's, and whichever is the right order of that. So that's my backpacking stupid thing of the week. Triple Crown. This is the Triple Crown of things you'd step on / in barefoot. This one reeks of Sean's selection. This is not me. So I'll let you kick this one off.
Absolutely. I'm definitely starting it off with grape smashing.
Yeah.
Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
Of the,
I was going to pull it up if you weren't going to mention it.
For sure.
The lady that falls over.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Classic internet. But something about that just seems so satisfying to me.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I, too, can fall out of a grape smashing bucket.
Yeah. Would you drink other people's foot wine?
Like just like for funsies? Casually?
If you didn't know, let's just say it was just you went to a winery and one person at random back there drinking got to smash all the grapes with their feet, would you drink their wine?
This is a stranger.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what those feet have done.
Yeah.
Through your feet, I'm definitely not doing
Yeah, no, I don't even think I would drink my own smashed grape juice. Yeah, that would be offensive. I know what goes on down there is not good. My first selection and things I would step on or in, I'm going to go very conventional here. I'm going with a nice white sandy beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like feeling the sand between my toes, betwixt my toes, nice and hot in the afternoon. Yeah. That's just a pleasant feeling.
Some pina coladas.
For sure.
Getting caught in the rain.
Ooh, going straight to the song now. For my next one, I'm actually going to pick something that we are on currently, a plush rug.
Oh.
A barefoot plush rug. The little
yeah.
coils between your toes. That is a good feeling.
A nice thick pile?
Yeah.
To heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you keep a shag carpet in your house?
If I didn't have kids, I would be more open to considering it. The problem is, much like with this rug, it gets matted down very quickly.
Yeah, very fast.
The novelty of it, I guess it would help if I vacuumed it ever. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. There's colonies growing in here. But yeah, when you vacuum it, it actually comes back to life pretty nicely. But no, we have just like regular carpet at our house, and it is a fucking hellhole.
Yeah.
Just the amount of like juice and jelly and you name it, puke, poop, the things that are going on in that carpet. I don't even want to step barefoot on my own carpet in my own house.
Okay. Yeah,
so.
That makes sense. So you fantasize about a nice thick carpet you can stick
Other
your feet
people's
into.
Yeah, well-maintained carpets is my fantasy.
Clip that.
There's a rug joke in there somewhere.
Something. For me, next one I said was Orbeez. So you don't know what an Orbeez is?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Orbeez are those like little beads that when you put them in water, they get real big. I'd say it was like really big, maybe like 5 years ago or something.
Yeah, we're not talking like boba tea.
No, they look like boba.
Ooh, boba would be
Boba's a good one.
I guess that's too close
pearls.
to grapes, but
Orbeez, Google an Orbe. Look it up what an Orbe looks like.
Orbeez.
Hey, you at home, look up what an Orby looks like.
Okay, and what's the consistency of these?
I think they're like pellety, like little jelly balls full
Okay.
of water. It just looks and when they're all full of water and you put them into like say like a kiddie pool and there's a bunch of them. There's also some water in there, so you're slushing them around.
So?
Yeah. I kind of picture it feels maybe like a cranberry bog.
Yeah. All right.
So that's my answer.
They look like larger fish eggs or something.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's a good one. I've never heard. This must be like a Gen Z thing. I've never heard of Orbeez.
I wonder if kids can choke on them. I was gonna say get them for the kids, but
We're getting close to the not choking phase, or
Okay.
like putting inanimate objects in their mouths.
yeah. But these, to be fair though, look delicious.
And they eat all the things that looked like they're constantly putting the markers on their tongue.
Okay.
Play-Doh straight down the hatchet.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're done like.
They are eating the Play-Doh.
Yeah.
I only found out recently that the Play-Doh is actually edible for that purpose.
Didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
reassuring.
It's because they know that children eat the Play-Doh. It's like a salt
And
dough.
I'm not even talking about the twins. Straight up Leo is just eating pieces of Play-Doh. He knows better. It's just they make it smell good. It's not like a normal food smell, but it's also not.
It's like an establishing dominance thing. He's like looking you in the eyes and eating Play-Doh.
Yeah. You can't tell me shit, Dad. This is going in me. Good.
That's funny.
Snake traffic, another one.
Okay. Next one I saw was Jell-O.
That was a great pick.
Yeah, that's just an easy answer to me.
Yeah.
I look at Jell-O, I'm like, I want my feet in that.
Yeah. No.
It doesn't look like something that should be consumed. It looks like something I should step in.
Maybe for PCT Trail Days next year, a Trek-sponsored Jello wrestling
Oh,
competition.
now we're talking. Now we're talking.
That's actually an amazing
How do we crown a
idea.
winner? Is it to the death?
Yeah, someone's got to die.
Okay. Yeah.
Waivers will be signed.
Perfect.
Obviously. Man, Jello wrestling would be awesome. We're gonna chat GPT how much Jello we need to get to make that happen, but that could be really funny. Cool. And do I have two more? One more. I'm gonna go with. This is weird, but this did come to my brain, so I will express it. Very warm, not hot, mud.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
Because like cold or even room temperature mud, something about the temperature is not appealing to me, but like a hot foot mud bath. Maybe I'm just describing a spa right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is that a thing?
That's like,
Do they heat up mud there?
I think a warm mud situation is a thing at a spa.
Okay.
I'm picturing like it's a hot day and like water splashed over the side of the pool and the ground is a little muddy. It's like a little slippery.
I want to be like foot submerged into it though,
Oh.
not just like the slippery. There's something nice about that, but I want it to
Okay.
be up to the ankle.
Okay, so this is like you're in the south. It's hot.
Yeah.
A bunch of mud.
But I want it to be cool. I want there to be a contrast between the mud and the temperature.
Okay.
Not hot mud on a hot day.
So you like to sleep in a cold bedroom and you like your mud at the perfect temperate.
I like my bedroom cold and my mud hot. Good callback. You'll have to listen to a previous episode to make sense of what we're talking about. But yeah, good. We did it. Triple crown of things we'd step on / in barefoot. Let us do a mailbag. This one will be a little atypical. This is, I guess, kind of a call back to PCT days. Obviously, we were hyping up the fact that this was Chaunce's domestic bachelorette party, which I will admit I kind of dropped the ball on getting anything bachelorette related. So I started to design some subliminal penis-shaped pins that we could all put on ourselves.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm like, is it a bad look if the owner of the company is passing out penises for their employees to put on them? So I backed off. I let my probably ill-advised instinct get the better of me there. But I did start to take steps, and then I'm just like, I'm not going to go down for this.
Okay, gotcha.
Take me down for something else.
Yeah. I just thought that just like my sparkling personality was enough of a bachelorette gift. You're welcome, Chaunce.
However, forgot shout out to Fancy Feast.
Oh, yeah.
for bringing over the most hilarious kind of hiker themed present. It was a dick shaped assortment of bakery bread.
Yeah, from Manzana. What's the top of the trail? Whatever that is. But it was beautiful.
Mazama, yeah.
Yeah, Mazama.
Yeah. It was...
fresh baked goods from Mazama.
Yeah.
In the shape of a dick.
You can probably imagine that there was a baguette involved, and then
There was a baguette and then 2 cinnamon rolls, and on top of the cinnamon rolls were bagels, one of which I ate. Thank you, Fancy Feast.
Yeah. No, Fancy Feast is hilarious, and both a guest and a listener of the show, so thank you, Fancy Feast, for that great gift to Chons. I'm thanking her for a gift to Chons, but I'll do it anyways. Anyways, this is the mailbag. It says the obvious implication here is that everyone should do a shoey while listening to this for Chons' PCT Days Bachelorette. And the message is very simply, a DJ I was listening to played this and felt you folks would appreciate it. And this will make sense here shortly for obvious reasons. You get the idea. It's a 3-minute long song. We don't have to do the whole thing, but...
No. Keep it rolling.
Have you done a shoey before?
I have not.
Would you do a shoey? I'm not putting you on the spot right now, but like...
I would do a shoey in the right context. Like, I just finished the Triple Crown, and now I have to do a shoey.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for fun.
Would you do it out of someone else's shoe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's a fetish thing, yeah, for sure.
What was the brand that was doing shoeys at the pre-funk party?
There's a brand doing shoeys?
Yeah. It was like on the hour or something like that. Every time we looked over, it was whatever brand was set up in the corner. Fuck.
That's such a good idea.
You didn't notice that?
No.
Someone will message me about it, but yeah. Shoeys, all the rage right now, apparently.
So hot right now.
Is that a hiker thing or a Gen Z thing?
Like, shoeys are a hiker thing in my eyes.
So your friends, your non-hiking friends aren't just drinking beers out of shoeys?
No. But I'm also not in college anymore. I don't know what the kids are up to these days.
I would still do dumb drinking shit at your age. I mean, I only recently got over mine, so yeah. Probably.
I mean, I'm doing dumb drinking shit. It's just not out of shoes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not doing keg stands.
I definitely had my last keg stand after your current age.
Really?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's crazy.
I think I did one at the twins' first birthday
party.
That
is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. So it's been a couple years. I'm out of the game, guys. Good review. I'll let you take the review. We'll go backwards today.
5-star review. Please boost your volume from Atlas CT. Please boost the recording volume. I love this show, but I have to crank my volume 30% higher than any other podcast or music, so I end up blasting my ears when I switch to anything other than BPR. Thank you. Love.
Thank you for the feedback. I'm hoping that this reviewer is referencing older episodes. We were still figuring out the editing process. I think it's sorted out, but I would love your guys' feedback if that's not the case. If you feel that we're still too quiet, send us an email at podcast@thetrek.co or leave us a 5-star review, and we'll take that feedback to heart. And again, if you guys want to hear your reviews read on this podcast, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us any number of stars. Just not 1, 2, 3, or 4. Screenshot your review. Send us an email at podcast@thetrek.co, and we will send you a sticker. Thank you to today's title sponsor, that is Topo Athletic. Use our code TREKFALL for 15% off your order at topoathletic.com. What is there to say about these shoes that hasn't already been said? I love them. Jess wore them before you were even a trekker.
Oh, yeah. I can give my spiel about the Topos.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I was hiking with plantar fasciitis for, it felt like 1,000 miles, and like crawled into Harper's Ferry, desperate for a change of shoe. And they had the Topo Terra Ventures at the outfitter there, and I tried them on. Nice wide toe box, 3% drop. I was coming from a 5%, and essentially, like, overnight, my feet were healed. It was crazy. And again, I'm not saying Topo will heal your plantar fasciitis, but I will say it healed mine.
Yeah,
so.
There you go. Love that. If you guys have listened to this podcast, you've heard the many positive reviews from our very esteemed guests. They just rock the shit, so shout out to Topo for making a good product. And again, use our code TREKFALL15 for 15% off your order. I don't know how long these discounts are going to last, so if you're on the fence about it, act now. Thank you to our guy, Paulie at Old Man Murph's Coffee Roasters. Go to ommcr.com to get yourself some delicious beans. You can follow us on social at Backpacker Radio on Instagram and TikTok at BackpackerPod on X, Facebook.com/BackpackerRadio. You can follow Sass
at Jess Hikes Trails on YouTube and Instagram.
There it is.
Do we do the sponsor mentions?
Oh yeah, we went out of order. We'll do that next. Thank you. That's a good one. That's a good one to not miss. Appalachian Trials and Pacific Crest Trials are my books. Please leave a review if you've read them. Super big thank you to our Chuck Norris Award winners. Thank you, Jess. Definitely don't want to miss this. Alex and Misty with Navigators Crafting, Andrew, Austin, Daniel, Bill Jensen, Brad and Blair from 13 Adventures, Brian Alsop, Fables, Carl Hood, Christopher Marshburn, Clever Innuendo, Clint Sittler, Coach from Marine Outdoors, Eric Casper,
The Friendly Ghost.
Nice, Eric Hoffman, Ethan Harwell Dunn, Jillian Daniels, Go Bills, Greg Knight, Greg Martin, Greg McDaniel,
May he bring honor to his name.
Griffin Hay, Would You Bring Me a Beer, Haley Buckingham,
Palace.
Nice, Matt from Gilbert, Arizona, Patrick C. and Cialo, Rebecca Braveheart, wait, I'm not going to scream it, Rebecca Braveheart, Rural Juror, Sawyer Products, Spam, the St. Louis Shaman, Timothy Hahn,
Solo.
and Tracy Trigger.
Fawns.
Nice, A+. Subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on YouTube.
Bye. Oh, shit. Do it again.
You didn't even do that as a goof. That was an honest
That was
attempt.
real.
Yeah. No, you weren't too far off. I say thank you so much for listening and happy hiking.